You're in tune to GalaxyAfterWe.com,
to the Nubian
the
Forum
only
People's Talk Show with the Prophet Kwaku on GalaxyAfterWe.com, the only brainwashing station in this nation. Asha Senator says so. You're in tune to the Nubian Forum People's Talk Show live with the Prophet Kwaku. Asha Senator says so.
Well, I really had to do it. I had to do a jingle for him. Now, if you big up him name, Kwaku, him a carry the swing. Hey, I really had to do it. I had to do a jingle for him. I miss it without a doubt. You know who I'm talking about. Hey, I really had to do it. I had to do a jingle for him. I miss it without a doubt. Kwaku, him no stop run the route. Well, this is Tipper Area. You know, some of them for the Nubian Forum Talk Show. With no brethren Kwaku. Keep it locked.
Itepe Ineke J.R. Senebe. You're in tune to Nubian Forum People's Talk Show. Live on GalaxyAfterWe.com. Inside with the Prophet. Medote Kwaku Bonso. Akwaba. Apologies for the late start. Well, you know this is one of my favorite tune. Prince Malachi. I have a special guest coming in the studio. One of our greatest heroes. Still alive here in British Britain. Alright, now I could just get with the thing. Akwaba in the name of the creating force of the universe. The omnipotent being that which is greater than ourselves. Who has many names. Oludumare Nkulokulu Kwame Blaffer Ashe Mongo Ja Onyeme Dinyame Amen Ra Ashe Ashe Ashe. Out up my my customer. My special guest is in the studio, people. Live up on the Facebook canal. I'm something in the Facebook, you know, because I'm going to go Facebook live soon. Let me just make him comfortable. Let me just make him comfortable. Just hold tight. We know not what for. No way. But on that great day, soul shall rise to give evidence. Fire go burn them. Right, in tune to the Nubian Forum People's Talk Show. Your talk show. Live on GalaxyAfterWe.com, the only brain rush station in this here nation. Right, so when you're gonna send your texts in, let me know so una tune in. Send uno WhatsApp in. +44 if you're abroad. Drop the next 0. 0737 792 0703. You can text or WhatsApp that number. Make me know so no tune in silent listeners. Remember 0737 792 0703. WhatsApp and text. Let me know loud and clear there around the world. Alternatively, the live link number not yet. Don't call in. +44. Drop the next 0 if you are abroad. 0207 193 0174 1974 0207 193 0174. Yes, OTEP people, OTEP Akwaba, and you know Akwaba to the Nubian Forum People's Talk Show live here on GalaxyAfterWe.com. Inside with the elder in the studio with me, and so I'm gonna tell you a bit about this elder before I bring him in and talk about him. See, I'm live on the Facebook now, so when I log in, cause we live on the Facebook now. Live on the Facebook. See? This brother is a revolutionary Pan-Africanist, father and activist. Yeah? Has been actively and consistently involved in organizing the struggle since 1978. 1978, you know. He remains one of the few revolutionary activists from that period. Like so many young black men, he was targeted by the state as a youth. He was fortunate to be guided by his mentor and sister, Afrika Bantu. She was an active member of the Black Panther movement from the age of 14. Year when black people went to do liberation work in this country, she was 14. See? Involved in organizing the first Africa Liberation Day celebration in this country in 1972. And national liberation struggles in Africa and the Caribbean beyond. The politics of the Panthers was to take this particular individual through various political organization campaigns that were at the cutting edge of guiding and being at the heart of black political resistance in Britain. These included Stop and Search Campaign's 1981 New Cross Massacre Action Committee that organized the Black People's Day of Action. This is a day when most black people march out before you see what happened the other day. Involving over 25,000 black people. And what's significant about that, anyway, I'll talk to him about that. 1981 Brixton Defense Campaign, later the National Defense Campaign, ensuring the defense of youth arrested during the Brixton and national uprisings. 1983 led mass community awareness forums, Black History for Action. 1985 community campaign after the shooting of Cherry Gross and the killing of Cynthia Jarrett, which sparked the Brixton and Tottenham uprisings. Formed the Tottenham Tree in Innocent campaign, successfully helped to free 3 men jailed for life for one killing of a policeman. African United Action Front, Marcus Garvey African Family Day, founding member of the Next Generation Saturday School. He is a committed parent and feels very strongly in supporting young people in education, youth projects, founding member of the United Families and Friends Campaign, London Campaign Against Police and State Violence, Global African Congress. Please, people, wherever you're there, big him up. Give a massive shout out wherever you're there and round of applause for my elder in the studio, Minka Adofo. Minka is guided by the political overstanding that the struggle of African people in the United Kingdom is part and parcel of the African and oppressed people's struggle worldwide against imperialism. Otep, Elder Minka.
Boy, what a big up them, sir. But Otep, Prophet Kwaku,
Otep, Elder, and I want the mic up to your mouth. Yeah, because I want the people to hear what you have to say. Right, now, Elder Minka, this is, I want the camera, I'll catch you, because I want people seeing them, and I don't want them not seeing them, I want them see you, Baba. So I'm going to take this thing here down, yasso. Put this thing right out, yasso. Because I want, when everybody see the great Minka, See? Now, I know you're a very kind of humble brother, Elder Minka. I know that you're a very kind of humble brother. You don't really like to be put out there. But I've decided to bring a different scope to the show that I present in Galaxy. In that I want to talk about our heroes here and our heroines. Because as a younger man than you, and not just younger in age, but younger in the struggle. Because you was in the struggle from what age?
Well, yeah, take me back now. Since that's 57, 67, 57. I'd say
about 40 odd years.
Yeah, no, that's the struggle. That's why I said how long me in. Yes, over 40 odd years now.
40 odd years. So, at what age what was your age when you actually started to get involved in activist work for our community?
I would say just over my 20s. Just over my 20s coming up. But before I start, let me just send out revolutionary greetings.
Yeah, go on, do your thing. It's your show, you know.
Let me send out revolutionary greetings to the Galaxy family. I want to send special greetings out to Galaxy management and all of the pilots them who is doing sterling work in rising up the consciousness of our community. I also like to rise up my parents and my freedom fighting ancestors, without who we would not be here today. And we should be eternally grateful for the sacrifices they've made so we could be here today. I'd also like to rise up all of the various different community radio stations who are seeking, those radio stations who are seeking to again raise up the consciousness of our people. Because as the Right Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey show us, is that when you control the mind of a people, you don't really have to worry about their body. And that is why Galaxy, the only deep brainwashing station, is so important for us as a community. And let me not forget my brethren OG over Omega FM, a brother in which that we always we have such big differences, me and that brother. But at the end of the day, we're still family, and we should never forget that. And hopefully, as we go on within our discussion, we will go on and deal with these contradictions, because one of the biggest problems we have as a community is that we don't seem to manage our differences very well. And we need to understand that in each family, we're going to have differences. And this is one of the lessons, hopefully, that we as a community, we need to deal with it. Because I have to say, if we don't solve this problem, we won't survive it.
All right, Elder. We're going to come back to that.
Yeah.
We're going to come back to that. But what I want to talk to you about is you. This show is about telling us who Elder Minka is. And so you said you started around about your 20. So your sister was 14 when she started.
Yeah.
And how much years older is she than you?
She's with 2 years apart. So she would have started up a lot younger than me.
A lot younger than you. Was she your elder or?
Yes.
She was your elder.
Definitely my elder. But can I just say quickly, please, junior elder, don't bother put too much age.
Well, you have more grade than me, So you're senior elder to me, So you might be junior elder to my mother.
Right.
Yeah, but you senior elder
and
to
please,
me.
I say something out the road on the WhatsApp, you talk about great Minka. No, please, I'm not a...
One second, elder. Unfortunately, you are not hosting the show.
All right.
The prophet is hosting the show.
Right.
And if the prophet puts on you great, I don't give you great lightly. It's very few people I call great.
All right.
And I have my personal reasons why I call you that.
All right. Okay.
You understand me?
Okay.
And as I said earlier, with due respect, Elder,
Junior.
that that you're not a man to adorn praises. You don't do those things, and I've noticed that over the years of working with you, of disagreeing with you, but always having that respect for you as my elder. And I think that we wait till people dead to say all the great things that we want to say about them. And I don't choose to do that. So the people that are alive now that I see doing the work, see, look, I've had Stafford on here a few weeks ago, and hopefully he's going to call in this evening. And he's very much like yourself. You don't just do the work. But we, over here, we get consumed with our brothers and sisters who are doing works across the pond. And we bring them over and we put on big shows for them, and they come and we come out in our numbers. But we have the same equivalent of people doing that same type of work here. But they don't get that adulation. You understand what I'm saying? You've made a lot of sacrifices in your life, Elder. I've seen that myself. I remember as a youth growing up in Brixton, watching this brother with leaflet. Them time I think you was a socialist them time there. Yeah, but you was always on the battlefield. You understand me? But as a little youth, run up and down doing my thing. But I grow and I see that you've never wavered from that move. And I've seen a lot of people, even with myself, coming through this. We start this thing with certain people, enough people drop off a shape. Yeah. But you've always been there, Elder. Yeah. You understand me? So allow me the privilege of granting you the great Minka.
Oh Lord! All right, yeah. Let's not spend the short time talking about whether or not I'm great.
No. Well, we're gonna see, because I just read a big old blasted flipping resume here, sitting right down in front of me. I mean, you've been on the thing 1981, 83, 85. You've been on it, so don't trivialize.
All right. Let me.
No, Elder. It's me. I do the interview, so we just want you to just roll with me, work with me. All right. Seen? Right, so what was the first thing? You was around 20 when you started in the struggle.
Yeah, let me say, let's deal with this age thing, and I think it's important, especially.
No, not elder. No, Elder. Would you?
As a junior elder, you have to listen.
Go on.
You have to listen to the junior elder still, because you can't just give me the title.
Go on, Elder.
For sure, yeah.
But the people want to know about you, so say what you have to say.
All right.
And with due respect, no interrupt me. Just work with me.
All right. Just remember, say still as a junior, me being a junior elder, you have to listen to the junior elder still. Right. So the other thing you said, which I wasn't too comfortable with, Prophet, is this suggestion about general. I really regard myself to be a foot soldier in our struggle, and I think too often when we look back at our struggles and our history, we tend to focus on individual, but truly it's the masses that really make the struggle, and very often none of them that what we know. And I think until we understand that each one of us, all right, has got that greatness within us, without these titles, then we'll always be looking for somebody outside of us. And I'm saying that, no. These titles that what we have are very, very important. A general is a very important title. A leader is a very, very important title. It's not just about commitment, okay? It's about many other things, which we're not going to go into that. So I just wanted to make that point. In regards to the early starting of my engagement in the struggle, and I want to say this in particularly for some of the young people out there that will be struggling. Although I say is that it concretized, I made that firm commitment in organization around the time I was 20. In fact, leading up to that, from I was 15, 16, I was being tutored and mentored by my sister. But very often, like many people, we kind of hear things, we don't really take it very seriously. But as we go on in life, we kind of we say, you know what, we've got to make a commitment. The time has come, as we spoke about earlier on, about the importance of raising consciousness. But that's one phase. The next phase is to really transform that consciousness into united action. And I use the word united advisedly, because we can do the way we are at the moment is that we've got a lot of individual positive actions around the place, in our community. A lot of positive things.
Elder, look, we got enough time. I want people to know about you. Yeah. So I'm going to be very stern at this point here, as the pilot steering the ship. Yeah. We're going through the Orion belt now. I'm in a one in the asteroid liquid dog. So I want you to work with me, Elder. Right. So you were being tutored by your sister.
That's right.
You didn't listen much to her at that time.
Yeah.
But what was it that triggered you to get involved in organization?
Well, as the reason I don't like to talk too much about myself, and people talk about books and all of these things, is that if you really talk to black men, if you talk to us, especially those with, let's say, well, I'm not even going to put age on it because this is intergenerational now. What you find is that what we go through very similar experiences. And when I say similar, in terms of our interaction with the state. To be stop and search is not unique to I. It's an experience. To be brutalized by the police is not unique to I. To imprison by the police is not unique to I. And so we got to really go beyond to say that what we're going through is an experience, is a collective experience. And I'm more really kind of interested in terms of what do we do about it? Because I don't really see that kind of uniqueness that a lot of people like to put upon individuals as such.
All right. Let me ask the question again. What was it that triggered you to get active in activism from a black perspective at the time? What was it that triggered you?
Okay.
This is not about unique things. We understand that, Elder. But what I'm saying is, I'm doing this interview for the people to know who Elder Minker is.
Right.
Yeah? Okay. And I'm going to keep coming back to that all night until we do it. Okay. So is either you're going to work with the program or we're going to keep repeating ourselves.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah? So what was it? You see, because there's a lot of young people that actually listens to Galax, believe it or not. They might not phone in, but they listen. And some of them might think they're too young to get involved in things. You understand me? Sure. So I want them to know how long you've been doing it, when you started, and what caused you to make that decision. So you're 20. Your sister was your mentor. Okay. She was showing you certain things, but obviously there were other distractions, as we all know, differently. And in the era that you grew up in Brixton was hot. On front line, all them. It was a hot place. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of activities, legitimate and illegitimate, was going on, and you could have easily gone either way, really.
That's right.
But you chose to move into activism. What was it that made you make that move?
Right. If we could just go back a little bit. And I talk about the collective experience. And the collective experience starts a lot from the education system. And being within the education system, also being a victim of exclusion at a very early age, at a very early age, moving from school to school. Mm-hmm. You then find that you're taking more of an interest in young. Well, we were all young at the time, so don't get me wrong, right? Don't mix up this thing. We're taking a much more greater insight in terms of what's outside of the school than what's in the school. So whether it's on road, whether it's around young women, that is what now becomes our focus. So when you say take a different road. So prior to when we start talking about interactivism, yes, it was difficult to avoid being in certain kinds of company, getting involved in certain kinds of activities. out on the street. It was difficult in my experience to totally avoid that. But what it seems to me that was the turning point, as my father used to say to me, as I will never stop telling my children, is that, there's in life, you're gonna either, you can learn in both two ways in life. You can learn the easy way, or you can learn the hard way.
I told my son that today.
All right. And so, and of course, when you're a young person, you think to yourself, well, boy, what do they know?
Truly.
What did they know? And so it's not long, you go out on the road, police start to just try rough you up. And in those days, we wasn't really as kind of frightened as well, I wouldn't say frightened, but the police have developed their tactics of how they deal with us today. Because what you find nowadays, as soon as there is an incident, you find that before you know it, you're overwhelmed by police. In those days, they didn't really, at them times, you could have had a 1 to 2 with them. Yeah, you could have. Yeah. And then you could have they could really have to show exactly who they are, right? And you show them who they are. And we was of the position in those days that we ain't taking no liberties from them.
Hold on there, Elder. And I want you to repeat this, because this is something that I've heard bantering around with young people now. That, we're not going to take none of it. The elders took it, and we're not going to take it. As almost as if the people before allowed the police them to take liberties. Can you just repeat what you said again and make it very clear? I want you to explain what you just said there, because it was perfect.
Yeah. Well, if it was perfect, it can't get more perfect. I'm perfect, Although me and Russia got always a debate at this point about perfection. Because I'm always of the view you can improve, but we've got the perfect man in Russia, and I'm still grappling with that concept. But no, I mean, at that time, for us on the streets, in confronted with the harassment by the police, as a whole, as young people, we didn't really put up with that. And I'm talking about in our patch there,
your catchment
down in Brixton down there. And what we would say is that we're gonna stand up to that. We're not gonna take the harassment. Okay? And so the point that the younger people would say in regards to, well, we put up with so much. We had a solidarity amongst our people. Our young people, we had a general solidarity amongst each other. That although we never read this book and we read that book, we knew that as black youths, we stood together.
I share.
And what concerns me about the young people with all this bravado talk is that they seem to only have a lot of the talk so much for each other.
That's right.
But when it comes down to Babylon, them have, you see, they will have a knife, and then they will see an adversary, and they're ready to go and use that knife
and take that person's life
and against that young person. But when they see the wicked Babylon, who is harassing them day by day, you soon see how fast they quickly throw away that knife. You understand? And even if it's just one wicked that is walking the street. So I don't take it that that when these people say that we, as that generation, that we just put up with anything. It's important, however, to look at it in terms of stages, because what you see happening when you see people are resisting, it usually comes as a result of trying everything else. And very often, you're amongst people and you say to them, well, try and be reasonable. But there comes a point in every people's life that you say, you know what, enough is enough. And on that point, we start to respond and rebel. So I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that what we've always been a people that's always been rebelling. I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying is that our struggle goes through various different stages, and we need to understand that and don't mix it up.
So what was the stage then that, I mean, you mentioned about the schooling and being expelled from school, being harassed by the police.
Okay.
Was that what triggered you to get into organization?
No. You see, what happened after that, you see, is that I was a person, as I used to have a very fiery temper as a young person. And I don't know how I used to manage, but apparently I used to give a very solid buck. I don't know if it's damaged me in any way, but, you know, in those days, I didn't really put up with a lot of foolishness, especially from the police. So it wasn't long before I was on quite a few charges of assault against police. Also as well, all kinds of other petty charges that they would put on me, which would vex me so much. And that's probably what kind of made me question the Christian faith that I had at the early age. Because I used to say to myself, you know, that, well, boy, if there's a God above all of these lies and that these people are putting on you in terms of false charges, then it cannot prevail. But of course it did. And so I'm now in captivity, captured in their, what they call prison. I don't even think they got legitimacy to
So what age was this then?
I would say that this is an age, we're talking now, because I says we can't stick at each age, because we're talking about a particular period. I would say we're talking about from, let's say, 14 to 20. We're talking about 14 to 20 period. That's the period of time. And so leading up to the 20 years old now, my sister is sending me in books on the Right Honourable, on Malcolm X, on various different Sheikh Anton Diop.
So hold on a minute, we're going to get to that. I want to get to the part that how you end up there. You did buck down one of the boy them.
I saw him, police.
Yeah, you buck him down.
Amongst other things.
Oh, good. Well, you know, you forget certain resumes still let me like that. So go on.
Right.
So you buck down a boy and them send you to jail.
Yeah.
Boostal, innit?
Yeah, and also as well, I have to say as well, like, you know, there was a time in which that, you know, you go to Jamaica, because when I came over here when I was about 12, right?
So you're a send for them?
Right, yeah.
You're one of the send for them?
And you know, yeah, I have to say, in you know, in the earlier days, and you know, employment being unemployment, we're not even unemployment, but finances being so scarce as it was at that time. You know, you go to Jamaica and you might bring back a little bit of herbs and something like that. So I'm not going to say. I was never a smoker, by the way. You know, so, you know, you kind of got involved in them kinds of activities as a young man. I'm not here to come and tell you that me was anywhere near perfect in that regards. And so we got involved with the system in those ways. But nevertheless, we're now in jail. And within jail, we start to read up more. And
so your sister starts sending you books?
That's right. And when I come out now, I made it very clear. And funnily enough, Lord have mercy, my first daughter was born. She was born when she was born in 79. She was born when I was actually in captivity. And her mother wasn't too pleased about that when they come out. Not her mother, not my daughter's mother, but my daughter's
your grandmother.
Yeah. She wasn't too pleased about that. I just think up to this day she forgive about that, but never mind. But nevertheless, so, you know, we've added responsibilities as well coming into one's life. One had to kind of make these kinds of choices. So I would say the combination of having to think, and this is what I try and tell these young people, you know, don't bother wait until them always say that them busy and this is long and them not have no time. Don't wait until you get time to start to think. Think of it now. Okay, and don't put yourself in that situation. So I would say combination of really having an opportunity to kind of think about one's life. The other thing in regards to the awareness that one sister was bringing to one. And I'm now having a new responsibility in which that I've got to say to myself. And it's had a very powerful and profound influence on I, because, one of the things I kind of committed myself to is that I said to myself, as I suppose most parents kind of do, them say, you know what? My child is not going to go through where me got through. And do their very best to make sure that doesn't happen. But as with my other children now coming up, we say, fortunately, they don't have to go through the experience I went through to realize the wickedness of the system. And so it's about navigating it around it in an intelligent way. So when you do get stopped by the police and they're trying to, as they say, aggravate you, you try and deal with them in a different kind of way. Because a lot of it is provocation. They deliberately go out there to get you provoked, so that when they start off with so-called a stop and search, it ends up into an assault against police. And we've got to make sure that our young people don't get caught up within those kinds of traps. And that is why some of the work that you may touch on later on is so important around the stop and search, because it is one thing to talk about the police violating us as young people, but it's another thing to make them know how to respond to these situations, because it's so important. And the wicked, as Malcolm X says, the names and the faces change, but the game remains the same. Once we know that, we've got to learn to maneuver our way around that.
So that was the catalyst that made you start to get into organization.
That's right.
What was it? What was the first organization?
The first organization, and I'm going to touch on this because you did touch on it, and I don't want it to go before I respond to that. The first organization I was involved in was the Black Unity and Freedom Party. It's a party that was formed in the 1970s. As I've mentioned, the first one to organize. I know other people have said difference in 1975 around Africa Liberation Day, but I'm here to correct the record. They organized the first Africa Liberation Day in 1972, and this was the Keskadi Center. And it's just a matter of record, and we can dig up.
Where's the Keskadi Center?
So, when I say 72,
me there primary school them time there.
All right. So that and then there's a 78. Me kind of coming at the fullness. So I wasn't there at that time, but it's over North London side somewhere. Okay.
Your sister was 40. Your sister was 40.
Yeah. They had a branch over there, and we had a branch. They had a branch over there, and they had a branch over South London. I eventually was to get involved with the South London branch. And the other thing I want to talk about, say to the young youths, is that because we used to do a lot of African history, it was serious, go down in our Kemet and all, really way down, Sheikh Anton Diop is, people that we studied great. And when I used to first go to some of these meetings, I used to sleep. I used to think, what is going on here? So, I'm not saying that when I said that.
You foolishly, was it because of boredom, or was it because you were just tired? Or?
Yeah, I think in a way I didn't really make the connection between our ancient history, or just history away from my immediate experience. Anything outside of that, it just took a long time for me to really make that connection. So yeah. And I have to say that organization there was, in terms of its outlook, a revolutionary socialist organization. And I don't really make apologies for that. And in defense of that position, I would say very simply, which is just a matter of fact, that there is only two economic systems in the world today. One is capitalism and the other is socialism. And we have to decide, and as we know, capitalism was built, its genesis was the enslavement of our people. And despite our struggling against slavery, we know that system transformed itself into colonialism. And we give thanks to the great works of people such as Walter Rodney and such as great theoreticians like Kwame Nkrumah, who brings us to the overstanding that we then move from colonialism to a new form of colonialism. But the fact is that imperialism still dominates our lives today. So I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that we should be mimicking any kind of European societies in any way, because any society which is genuine must be rooted in the people's culture and tradition. There's no question in my mind about that.
All right.
But I just want to say that, please, when you say that you were socialist, I believe unquestionable that what we need to have a system which is based upon the interest of the masses. I call that socialism. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but all I know is that we should not see as African people any future whatsoever on this capitalist system, because there's just no room for us there. They've already got their few at the top, and there's no room for anybody else. It's a parasitical system. It exists by keeping us in the conditioning where we are today.
I'm going to allow you to express yourself.
All right.
Yeah, but with due respect, Elder, I just want to keep it on.
That's fine.
Yeah, please. So then,
but that's my foundation.
Yeah. It's your foundation. I understand that. But what I'm trying to say to you, I'm going to get to that where you can express yourself. Okay. I want to know a bit more about you. I want people to know about you. I want the people them to say, boom, Minka, etc., etc. I want them to. So when they see you on the road, they say, yeah, that brother there, man. So when you're giving out your flyers and doing what you do, people's not taking the flyer. They can respect the work that you do. This is what it's about. So then, it was the Black Willan, the Black Unity and Freedom Party. And how long did
papers that most people would have seen within our community at the time would have been the Black Voice. In fact, my sister, Afrika, at one point was the editor also of that paper.
And how long did that organization last? How long was in it for? What were the things that they did in the community at the time?
Well, again, I mentioned 78. We were very instrumental in the around the Black People's Day of Action, because as people, the young people know, some people may not know that in 1981 we had a massacre that took place within our community when racist. And I'm saying this without any apologies. And even though certain people that was at the fire may want to say something else, I'm saying it was a racist firebombing of those young people within the party. And you've asked me about what the organization was doing. Our organization there, we had a role, because once the fire took place, I was in one of those meetings in Brookston.
Let me pause you there, because you've jumped from 78 straight to 81. So you've moved back.
Well, you said what we were doing. I'm saying
but what was you doing in 78?
Okay, well,
79, 80, because there's a question I want to ask you. Before the 81.
Okay, 78, 79. 78, around 78, we had a cartoon Campbell. Is a young man who them killed in, I think it was Ashford prison. They force feed him. Okay, that's my first kind of involvement in around deaths in custody. Cartoon Campbell.
And what year was that?
That was around 78, 79, 78, 79. Okay, 79. At that time, we had a lot of attacks upon our community. The National Front. More brazen.
Yeah, I left school then.
Brazen.
Just about I got expelled.
Brazen them times. The police. We're talking about on the back of the Scrap Sus campaigns and all of this. So
They were thinking of marching in Brixton around about that time, innit?
Yeah, they done a big thing down at Lewisham. But yeah, I mean, they were just bracing, and people need to understand that. I mean, I live in Brixton, and you have roads like when they listen, the Temple of Know Thyself will tell people all of this, and I'm sure the Galaxy family would have heard all of this. But nevertheless, in places like Brixton, I mean, we had to fight for Brixton, There was a time in with Salton Road and all of these places, In the going back in the early days, it was big fight. The white people, they were very brazen, I call you all kind of name, monkey and all them kind of things, They deserve a slap for that, just for that. You know what I mean? But as I said, there was a time in which that we kind of said, we're common. But as time went on, we just had to say, look like me no know much cheek we have to go tear it but right now it's a different story we have to deal with. So I'm saying is as a place which is known like Brixton as a black community which is now being taken over. In the early days it wasn't even that. We had to fight for it. So a lot of what you talk about, let's say 78, 79, the terrain was a very different terrain, but these young people can walk up and down the street now and feel for so that them can do what them want to do. Right? In them days, it was a very different situation. So we had those kinds of attacks. It was attacked by the right-wingers, it was attacked by the police, and those were the general features. But at the same time, we should not forget that we were part of a global situation. And so within that global situation, we had on the crest of the anti-colonial struggle, you say you don't want to go back too far, all right, fine. But we had the civil rights movement, the Black Power movement within America. And we had people like Martin Luther King come over. We had people like Malcolm X coming over here. And by them coming over here now, organizations, independent organizations was being established. The Universal Colored People's Association, in which the Black Unity and Freedom Party came out of in the 70s, was part of that. But we continued that tradition, not by mimicking what was happening in America, but recognizing that we as black people here was part of a wider struggle, and the only way in which that what we were going to get justice it's when we organized. Okay? So we were clear around that. So if you talk about 78, 79, 80, in 80 you then had Bristol rise up.
St. Paul's.
All right, then even before you reach that 76, we had Soweto in South Africa, but we had a big clash with them at Carnival.
Carnival, yeah.
Carnival, because in Carnival we used to control Carnival. When I say control Carnival, we used to have our political stalls down there. Underneath the bridge and all them things that they just we used to have so much space in Carnival, and it took the police a long time to control Carnival, because when we was ready to have our clashes with them down there, they wasn't able to control it as much as what they can do now. So that took a time, but all those things were happening around that time. So 79, 80, and then we come up to 81. So although you said that I jumped to 81, I just felt like, no,
but you see, the thing is, the people have to know what transpired prior to that, which led you to do what you was doing. You understand what I'm saying? As I keep trying to tell you, Elder, the story is about you. As much as you don't want to talk about you, it's about you. So you did all of those things, and then I wanted to ask you: was you ever involved in a program that was going on in the Abeng? Round about 78 as it goes. It was a Wednesday night. They used to show like Marcus Garvey videos, Malcolm X videos and things like that. Because I used to go down there at the time.
Yeah. I mean, my sister was kind of more involved in that side. Because remember, I said to you 78. So between that and 79 I have me youth.
All right then. So we're in 81. The fire happens in New Cross.
Yes, I'm at one of these meetings in Brixton, as we usually do, about 3 of us. All the joking.
You're the meeting man, boy. A ginger beer that,
ginger beer? Don't ever tell me how ginger beer is a problem.
Yeah, me make that,
Okay, so we're at this meeting now, and we hear say, it's about 7. We hear say, Willan, because although this was in the night, right? The next day, we was at a meeting. We said, Willan, them say a fire take place down on New Cross. So our people went down there. When I say our people, there was a particular brother that was in the organization, Brother Ken Williams. He was a liar, and that was from a year so that took place. People need to understand that the New Cross fire didn't come out of no blue. We had a whole heap of, we had a whole heap of bombings that was taking place in the area. The white people, and there was a particular situation that blew it up. It was in Birmingham, and you had an MP down there by the name of Jill Knight, who our brothers and sisters in Birmingham were, in them days, prophet.
Yeah. We know blues dance and them people, when 10 a.m. comes in the morning, people still are rave. People just come at the rave. People still are rave. So, Jill, the MP now, and the Sun newspaper took this up. Them say, wait, what are going on in our country, sir? We're having these people, them just are really a disturbed way, bringing this alien culture upon with. And the Sun made a big little splash out of that. But it kind of emboldened people, if they kind of come out and taking out these attacks. But as I said, even prior to that, we used to have a lot of parties in our house. And one of the reaction from white people that don't like it, they used to just bomb the house. All right? And so a lot of that took place. I mean, I got one of the old black voices, a couple of the old black voices that show graphically our people in hospital after the burns we get from going through the experience. So when New Cross came, it wasn't really too much of a surprise to us. And so in terms of our involvement from the Black Unity and Freedom Party, we said that as we usually do as a community, some atrocity takes place, so the community is a big meeting within a few days, big meeting down a moonshine. Okay? After that, we said we are going to have a planning meeting, and then that was done at New Cross as well. And within the planning meeting, a brother, I remember his name now, but it come back to me. Him say, well, this thing are going on too long, man. This thing are going too bad. We must have a day of action. And then most people are saying, we agree with that. Which Saturday you want to have it? Him say, no, we're not talking about on a Saturday. We want to have it on a weekday. A weekday when everybody at work and they can see what black people is going through in this country. So a lot of people in the meeting were saying, well, boy, nobody now come out on a weekday here. But them say, no, it's got to be a weekday. So the main forces in the planning committee at that time was our brother Darcus O. And we had the brother John LaRose. So, but they're organized. So we're talking about Darcus O is coming out of the Panthers. He's now operating now under Race Today. We have John LaRose is doing his Black Book Fair, International Black Book Fair, coming out the Black Parents Movement. And we've got, well, as I said, we had our brother Ken Williams, who's coming from revolutionary organization base. So one of the things that what we said from the outset, our organization took on the task of having what we called and set up a fact-finding commission. And the task of the commission was to interview the people within the party, okay, so that we could have documented account of actually what took place. So that was our job in them days, because we were just very clear about what's happening, what we're talking about. That's quite revolutionary stuff at that time.
So what we were doing, because we knew that they were going to come, because in those days, obviously, you have the mobile phone and all them kind of things. So it's like we didn't in those days, the only way our community was to have information, we'd have our guest statement, we'd have to produce our own little flyers to give it out. So at the beginning of all of this now, the Sun openly recognized it to be a racist attack. But when they start to see, as Malcolm, we didn't reach that stage yet, so I won't comment on that. When they started to see the community was now galvanizing, all of a sudden that turnover now to say, well, boys are fighting at the party and all of this and all of this and all of this, start to create a new narrative. But we've already had that information there. And even a few days before the march, them said that, we've arrested somebody for who basically caused the fire. But because we were doing the work within the community, in our various different community centers, we had that information in which that we were able to disseminate. No matter what the main broadcasters were doing, they couldn't counteract that grassroots link that what we had within our community. So I'm proud our organization was instrumental in that particular role. That's part of our overall committee. I'm not taking anything away from anybody else.
Hold on a second. Because it was around about 20,000 to 25,000 people, and people came down in coaches from different cities. How were you able to contact other black? Was you in contact with other black organizations in different cities?
Yeah, I mean, certain important changes took place after the New Cross, the Black People's Day of Action, and the National Uprising, which is that the state intervened in a very I would say insidious kind of way, in which is that it started to created a race relation industry effectively. But at that stage, we had organizations, the various different communities, in which we reach out to, we know them. People that's working independently within our community. As we said, we wasn't restricted by this kind of idea that, well, boy, we as you mentioned, Brother Stafford, I want to probably a little bit later. But it's like, a mentality was to grow up later, not then, that, whatever happens if it's a Answorth or if it's a Brixton thing, it's not a Tottenham thing. Or if it's not a Peckham thing. That mentality wasn't there at that time. We saw ourselves as a community. So whatever, and the good thing about most of these communities outside of London is that they're all in one little space. Whereas London, you have people all over the region. They're in one space. So if anything is going on in those different communities, we tend to know they've got a community centre in those places. So it's easy to reach out to them. And as Malcolm X says, and I'll just say this to you again, Prophet, just to remind you a little bit, just to show you is that, as we say, as Malcolm X said, the names and the faces change, but the game remained the same. Because even though when we were doing that leg hopping work in those various different communities, I noticed back coming to you in the reparation march, you were doing them kind of work going up and down the country in the same kind of way. So even though you didn't maybe be aware of what we were doing in the early days, you were doing that. You was following very much in our footsteps. I'm sure you was probably following in our footsteps. Well,
yeah, of course, and I'm proud to know that you saw that I was following. No, I'm proud of that, because you know what I mean. You don't come and take adulation. Like you just come and you do everything. Nah, there was people that built foundations like you, and I'm honored that you see me in that way. So thank you, Madasi.
The truth is truth, Truth is truth. So so the New Cross, so that went, and on that day, I have to say, even he was having my little dance, because on the day of the march, it was actually a rainy day. And
where did you march from and to?
Well, we marched from, what do you call it? Well, we marched from, I'm not going to say, where the community centre, they call it.
Talking in the mark.
Sorry. We marched from the community centre down at New Cross.
Oh, Moonshine.
Yeah, Moonshot.
Moonshot, that's it.
From Moonshot, we had a little open space down there, and then we march right down to Peckham. But anyway, the point I'm making is that at the beginning, when he's going to that march on that day, it was raining on that day. The early part of the day was raining, and you kind of think to yourself, boy, will black people come out? I mean, I know where black people come from. But as we left, everywhere we went, wherever black people was,
you joined the march.
They just joined the march. And by the time I reached down Blackfriars, that's when I'm reminded about what Malcolm X was saying. It was like, they must say to us that, well, when they see us coming now over Blackfriars Bridge, they must say, well, you now coming out of the city because you're not going to Fleet Street and all those places there. But as Malcolm X says, it was like a black steamroller. You just couldn't stop.
And that's quite significant, you know, that you went over Blackfriars Bridge. That's quite significant, you know.
I know you're going to show me the spiritual dimension to that point.
Well, Blackfriars Bridge is named after Black Friars.
Right.
Actual Black Friars that were in this country in around about, I think, the 16th century or something like that. They've actually got a mausoleum on one of the roads. Yeah, on the side of a building of a black friar on a horse. You know, so that's quite interesting. That's quite poetic. It's quite spiritual that you lot chose to march across Blackfriars Bridge.
Yeah.
Why Blackfriars Bridge? What was the route? Or was it just that you just had a feeling, or?
No, that was an organized route. I mean, they limited us. I mean, we wanted to go past Downing Street, and they said, no, you're not doing that. And so we had a delegation that took in the message to Downing Street. But it was a route that was I wasn't involved in deciding the route, but I mean, I know. I mean, the way I look at that route.
So you reach up the other end of Blackfriars Bridge, and it's almost like they got a whole sea of police and things like that. They don't want you to come up. What happens?
As I said to you, it was like a black steamroller. They couldn't stop us. The numbers of us were so great. They just had to move aside.
Now, I'm going to pause you there, Elder, just to say to people that, you know, you're in tune to Nubian Informed People's talk show, live on GalaxyAfriwit.com. We are interviewing one of our unsung heroes in our community who's still alive. We're not waiting for him to dead to say what Brother Minka did or whatever. You know, we're talking to the man who was there in the thick of it. And I think that Brother Minka is well positioned to really give us a history of the struggle from the 70s until now. Because that's what you're giving us here, is a history lesson. And I'm so honored that I have the privilege of interviewing you on this. Hopefully other people will interview, record it and things like that. But I'm me boss here first, as I say, in our own business. So I just want to say that this show is actually sponsored by African Development Enterprise, ADE Photographic Services and Sharp Photography, 48 Rye Lane, Peckham, Southeast 15-5 Bravo Yankee. Seen? Or Banto Ya Santawa. Check them out. They're official sponsors of this show. Best in designs, t-shirts, jumpers. You can do designs for your books, for your credit card or your business card, invitations, etc. 48, the indoor market off Rye Lane there, 48 Rye Lane, Peckham, Southeast 15-5 Bantu Yankee, BY. So check them out. This show is officially sponsored by them. And let me just read out some of the texts before I continue, Elder. I'm not going to read it. I said go on quick and play music, but I'm going to read that one there. No disrespect to that person. No, that one there. It says, Brother Kwaku, what do you think about the matter? I don't want to hear about that. I'm not reading any of that. That's not relevant to what we're talking about. Greetings, Medea. I'm Rise Up. I learned from Elder Minka in the early 2000s, and I joined Pan-African Youth Organization and African People's Liberation Organization, and I followed Elder Minka going to Roger Sylvester, Derek Bennett inquest and watching the support that Elder Minka had for the families of our people who were killed by the police. I sat in African United Action Front meetings and I studied the importance of involving yourself in the struggle. So I have respect for his works. I also was inspired to join organization by listening to one of his daughters in 2003 at Africa Bantu Saturday School, and so I feel Elder Minka is definitely an unsung hero that should be respected. So big up every time, Elder Minka, and big up Siba Kwaku, Otep, Siba, and Musu.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on, I got some messages. It says, "Rise up, brother Minka." That's from Kogra. Enough respect, Elder Minka. That's from Suleiman. Suleiman, big up yourself. Yeah, brother Minka, you really need to put out a book on this era in Black British history. That is true. That's what I was thinking about him in Oh God, what happened here? Please, I don't want to get that off yet. What else is there? There was so much more togetherness amongst us in the 70s into the 80s. Ancestor Warborn. Hi, I'm from Khadija. I'm a Mrs. Dad. Oh God, what's going on? Aris is watching. Big up yourself, Aris. The book for the cause, not just because Winston and True is also a documentation. Stages of rebellion until there is a tipping point. That enough is enough stage, at which times things can get violent and or organize a generational and yeah. So there it is, Minka. So you organize a thing, you reach over the bridge. So it was like a steamroll. So you don't just go past them.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to acknowledge them also there. Give thanks for those very warm and touching words. And also Brother Suleiman, a young freedom fighter.
Talking about
Brother Suleiman, a young freedom fighter within our community. Many of us will be familiar with him down with this bookstall spreading revolutionary literature, African literature within our community, not waiting. Not like some of the elders who's calling the young people and for come to meeting. He's going where the young people are in the community, which is a very bold and creative way of reaching out to our young people and our community as a whole. So enough respect for the works in which my brother Suleiman is carrying out. So I just want to also say about the issue about the book. You know, I'm kind of tired and fed up of people talking about books. I don't know how much time we're going to have to write about our experience. And that's why I was reluctant to go into it at the beginning by saying that I just think if you look at our people, our experiences, particularly black men, are so similar, right? I think the key issue for us as we started at the beginning of the program and we acknowledge Galaxy as the de-brainwashing station, we say that consciousness is important, very, very important stage. But then we have to say that's just one stage, okay? The next stage is transforming that consciousness into action. And I want to really at some point look into how we can really take it to that other level, because I don't know how long how much times do we have to write about our experiences.
All right, Elder, with due respect, yeah, I'm not going to take you back. I'm going to use an example that you just spoke about, because I'm listening to you attentively. You said when you was in that organization, you read a lot of books. You'd go to study, I assume it was study groups, and you're talking about books, and you fell asleep.
Yeah.
So you were reading books written by elders documenting our story that we knew nothing about. Right? And you said that was very important. You mentioned Sheikh Anta Diop. Very important historian in the history of African people in this world. A lot of our people don't know what happened back then in the 70s. A lot of our young people don't know it. Young people who are now in their 30s. Some in the early part of their 40s. Some in their late 20s. don't know nothing about them something there. Some of them who is Mickey Mousing around on the road and ending up in captivity. If they got a book about the era that they came from, or the era of the eras that they came from, while they're in captivity, and read that book, it might open them up to organize when they come out. So don't negate a book, Elder. You don't have to write the book, you know. But that book of that, because that period in time is caught on film by Eurocentrics. People who see it from a Eurocentric point of view, not from the point of view that is the experience. And you can't beat experience. So don't negate the book. Let's continue.
Yeah.
So, boom, on a sail through the people them. What happened after
that? Yeah, I mean, the police, they just go back wilding us. They were attacking us, horses attacking us. We ended up at Hyde Park. They ended up in Hyde Park. And of course, the next day they had all of the newspaper denouncing us as rioters, and they said it was a Black Day, Black Friday.
Moving closer.
They called it Black Day, Black Friday. But what was interesting, and I think we have to rise up, Brother Leader Bandaka, for this, is that when we went to Hyde Park, I don't want to bring people down, but it was a bit of a shambles. You know, people were just arguing, and people were just arguing. It just turned into quite a bit of a mess. And that is why when I say rise up, Brother Leader Bandaka, is that fast forwarding in looking at the rationale around the Interim African People's Parliament, he's saying that, you know, we've got to try and take this to another level, because what that proved to a great extent is that we were good at coming together but not staying together. And it's about learning those lessons to build upon that. And
right, you said there was arguments. Yeah, because what I'm picking up from my antenna is that I think maybe you're saying the police then was attacking you lot. Was there any retaliation from...
Oh yeah, we fight them. We just fight them all the way. There was no question about that. But what we're saying is that and I think we could kind of understand it to a certain extent, because it was a very vicious attack that took place upon our community. And maybe me, with hindsight, was expecting a bit more. But really, at that time, it's around looking at struggles on certain levels.
What age were you then?
You keep on come back to my age.
No, come on, no, man. You go work with me on this interview, or you not go work with me? Which one? We can just stop it.
We're talking about early 20s, man.
All right.
Lord have mercy. Do the maths now.
No, but people are listening. So look, every minute somebody else's news coming on the face the book. Somebody is probably listening, and they're trying to grasp the thing. I'm trying to give the people them.
It's about 23, 24. Around that time.
You're a young man.
Yeah, around 23. And at that time, let's not forget that just before that in 79 we had the Grenada Revolution.
Yes.
We had the Iranian Revolution. Okay. So, you know, we were living at that time, America was funding counter-revolutionaries in Nicaragua and El Salvador. So, you know, it was a time in which, on a global level, people were just really standing up against injustice. Yeah. So, yes, so that took place then. But I think it's important to note what happened after that. Because, again, the harassment didn't stop. All right? Because what we're talking about is in March, you know. Okay? Then now, in April, we didn't get the Brixton Uprising.
Yeah, I'm upbeat with that, because I was very much engaged in activities.
And that Brixton Uprising is like wherever black people... I mean, it's just like... It just resonated with our people. It's just like... We kind of set an example, but it's like everywhere we go, everywhere black people was, they could see that this built up frustration. And them say, yeah, well, boy, we're not take it either. So wherever our police station is, it was attacked in our various different communities. So we move really from, and I think in my experience of going up and down the country, the most organized community I've come across was in Liverpool. And we had, and it shocked me a little bit when I got to Liverpool, because your people almost look white, you know. Who said that them black, right?
See.
But and I talk a different language. No, not true. But they were very organized. Very, very organized. I don't want to call names now because a lot of these people started off very strong. Unfortunately, they generated. But they were very, very organized. So it moved from a Brixton uprising, so we had national uprisings. And there was attempts to pull that together. Now, it's important that when we look at that time, when you look back at history, you know, because, you know, a lot of people always have said that, well, boy, you know, we must just have peaceful protest and all of this. But the fact is that if the history book is written correctly, you will know that the first time you ever see any significant black advancement in this country was just after the 81 uprisings. And what the state did in a very conniving and a systematic way is that it's now began to create this race relation industry. They started to turn our struggle effectively into jobs. It also looked at the educational level, so you had all of these various different access courses being opened up.
I remember them.
You had people, you know, in terms of housing. When black people used to go for house, we would always get put down into the worst kind of housing that you could imagine. We now start seeing opening up for housing managers. You know, we start seeing all of these little positions now.
Yes.
The state is saying now to us, you know what, listen, all right. Maybe we get it wrong a little bit. All right. And Scarman comes up with his inquiry at the time, and Scarman it's important to know the difference between Scarman and McPherson at the Stephen Lawrence, because he looked into it, into what happened, and he said that, well, boy, the police were not racist. But he said what the issue was from him is that, well, number one, we didn't have enough black people in the police, and number two, there was not enough opening of black people within the wider society. And we're seeing the trickling of now spaces. Now, a lot of these people that may be looking down at our young people today, they don't realize, or they don't want to acknowledge that it's the people them with the tear up pants and the shoes with
why them have a job?
Right. Help to create the space. So although people often say, well, boy, violence, we must be peaceful, it was actually violence that created all of those opportunities. All right. Now, I mean that here I talk about we must advocate no violence, but I'm just looking factually at our history, and I'm saying that was a very significant time for us, and we should never lose sight of it. But one of the things we should also not lose sight of is that these black people, some of our best activists, we had some serious minds amongst us, you know, just got sucked into the system. And I'm not saying you shouldn't go into the system, but what I'm saying is that you should not forget where you come from. And that is one of the biggest challenges that we've still not been able to resolve today.
You know, Elder Minka, when you speak about the 81 uprisings, and I think it's a very significant statement you made about the jobs that was created for a lot of people, because a lot of people, when I think that was a time when certain black people became middle class, because these jobs carried a certain kind of stature, and so they did these jobs. And like what you said, they got sucked into these jobs and kind of forgot where. Did they forget where they're coming from, or was it that the job title now that they had determined that they had to move a certain way. They didn't have that freedom that they had when they were actually setting up their own organization. I don't know when I go do and I that I go do.
Yeah, I mean, when we look back at that particular time, you know, we kind of say that, although I say that, you know, they kind of forget where they're coming from. I think it's probably a big mistake on my part, because.
Why do you take one of them jobs?
Huh?
Because I'm sure you must have been offered.
Well, with my activism, I took a very active part in looking after my children when they were young. Very, very active. With anybody that know me in the early days, them very rarely see me at meetings. I mean, I push a pram. So I was very actively looking after my children, because I know it sounds a bit harsh, but it's difficult to give the children the kind of time when you've got two people fully working non-stop. We got to do it because we know we've got to put bread on the table. But the way it worked out for me is that I suppose at different periods of time, the way in which I was in terms of relationship is that the women at my life at certain times were very, how can I put it? You know, they could earn, from the system's point of view, a very good living, a reasonable good living. So it made sense, rather than we putting the children into strangers' care, that I focused around that. And I didn't mind that, from the standpoint that gave me the flexibility to be even more involved in struggle as well. So that's how it kind of worked. It just worked out like that for me. But if I did...
So you were never offered a job or something like...
It's a bit unfortunate when you say women looking after children, it don't look like a job, but me regarding looking after children a big job.
No, that's not what I'm saying, Elder. What I'm saying is that you made reference to very great minds within the struggle. We had some very great minds there, but they got sucked into the system. Are you saying then you weren't one of those great minds?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is that...
When you offered a position...
Well, I didn't. I personally wouldn't apply.
All right, then.
I personally wouldn't apply because I kind of knew what that meant. But at the same time, as I said, I suppose based on my experience, I was just so determined that these children of mine, they're just not gonna go through that. They're just not gonna go through it. You know, and it was a joy. I think that's really great. Bringing up children, you know. I'm not saying that the mothers didn't have any involvement, but what I'm saying is that to have that hands-on kind of role when the mother was mainly out working, I thought that it was that helped to shape me.
And I think, you know, it should be applauded for it, because that's quite unique. Because in general, it was the mothers that was raising the children them time, didn't it? Yeah. In general,
yeah. And so, for me, it's now we've now come to the stage now of awareness, and on the point of awareness, I just want to acknowledge our brother Leo Muhammad, and I want to acknowledge him from the standpoint that, you know, over the years, just as I've known you, because as I'm sitting here now, we can go back a few decades. I mean, you know, so we come down at the power jam. Right? You down in a brick stand down there. All right? You know, I remember Brother Leo Muhammad from early days. And as we've gone on, and I raise him up in this extent because, in particularly at the last reparations march, Emancipation Reparations Day, I was just so impressed by the way in which that, you know, the police really, because of the numbers were a bit low.
They were strutting themselves.
They really...
And that's what I wanted to... Let me just say that, because you cut me the last time when I wanted to come back, when you mentioned about how you look, it was just like a white storm, a black storm going over Blackfriars Bridge. Black steamroller going over Blackfriars Bridge. I wanted to say to the people who's listening that there was two things that were significant about that. One, you all decided it had to be in the week. It had to be when people were working. That was the first point. And the second point was the amount of black people that turned up there. A quote you say, black people, you don't know where them they come from.
That's right.
But as you was marching from Moonshot down to
Peckham School Academy, people are jump over fences behind the youth. Then the teachers couldn't hold them back. It was serious.
It was serious. And what I'm saying is, fast forward to, let's say, the last 7 years of us demonstrating from Brixton to Parliament Square, although that never transpired today. We had a lockdown. And even it was put out that they needed 100 people, 100 men to come to help initiate the lockdown. We couldn't get it at that moment in time. And the significance of what you're going to say now about what Brother Leo did down at Max Roach, because the police now, seeing that the numbers weren't that significant, started to flex their muscles. Go on.
I hear that. But don't ever think, Prophet, that you're going to ever think what is in my man, Junior Elder. So well it done. So yes, I'm connecting up the point about opportunities that people get, and not only the opportunities, because the other opportunities is that opening up the political sphere for a lot of councillors. There was a time in which we nearly controlled, black people nearly controlled most of the down our Lambeth Council along there, sir. All right. So positions were opening up, and even as you talked about Dean Akai, the first time I buck up on Dean Akai is when he was a member of the Panther. And then the Panther, they weren't the Black Panthers, they were Panthers. And that Panthers was like an offshoot of people within the Labour Party, black young people in the Labour Party, who felt like they wanted to do something a bit more kind of radical. And so, we had our clashes, but, but I'm just to say that all of these things were happening around that time. But I'll come back to Leo around the issue of opportunities and taking opportunities in life, you see, because some of us just take a different path. So, and I'll come back to Brother Leon on that point in a more significant way, but as he was mentioning that, I thought of him. And so we come back now to the last reparations march, and we know the police aggressively and without any reason whatsoever attacked our brother Lionel and arrested him. Okay, and Galaxy family have to look out for that area which is coming up, because we have to make it very clear that you can't just violate a brother like that on our Emancipation Day and we just stand back. So when the time is called for people to come out, we just hope that people come out in them numbers, because it's going to be very, very important. And I'm speaking to Brother Leo, because down at Brother Carl on Campaign for Truth and Justice was talking about how we can try and pull together some legal community defense around that, and hopefully that will happen. And so we'll let the Galaxy family know more about that. And so now we're on the march. They've attacked us, but we still carry on, and we will go down to Max Roach Park. We get to Max Roach Park now, and when we're at Max Roach Park, the police saying that, listen, this float that you're on is not going back to Winner Square. And Brother Leo said, and this is when we talk about leadership, it's very, very important. You don't just become a leader overnight, it takes a certain character. All right? Brother Leader said, no, this float here, I'll go back there with us, or we now move. Words to them affects them. And I'll paraphrase, the Brother Leo. And
Brother Leo said to the community,
right.
Yeah, he said, the police has told us that we cannot turn the truck around and go back. Well, I'm here to tell them we are.
Right. Now, I say this because there's a lot of
and he called them, he said, you're a coward. He told them that publicly.
Right. And this is important, right? And I think for me, what's important, many things that comes from that. You see, because when we talk about consciousness, many of us are very good when we come into our meetings amongst pure black people to talk so bad against the white man and the white woman because we can't leave them outside. But when it comes down to confronting your direct enemy, a lot of us don't have any talk, you know.
Ashay.
All right? And that's when we're all tested.
Mm-hmm. Truly.
All right? So I give respect for that because he kind of, when he stood up for all of us.
Ashay.
That's there. To crumble like that, it's just like saying, boy, we just turn weak. All right? So I want to acknowledge him for that. But also as well, a lot of people don't know, but within the Stephen Lawrence campaign, I mean, I want to tell you what kind of hairstyle Brother Leo did have at the time, but it's a different hairstyle him have. They had a big fundraising down at Acne Empire. Brother Leo was there, which was a fundraiser for the family because prior to Stephen Lawrence, we had Roland Adams.
Roland Adams, yeah.
All right, and again, that's when we buck upon Brother D, you know, kind of again, because as I said, they had a strong local youth contingent down there against the racists, them down there. Okay, so that was him down there. But then anybody who's familiar with Brother Leo will know that he's also one of the great performers in the Real McCoy.
And one of the great writers too.
One of the great writers, and you see, and I mean, I take nothing away from you as well, Prophet. Come, you know,
no. Hold on. This is not about me.
All right. So what may I say is this, is right. There comes a time within certain individuals' lives in which, you know, you just have to make a choice. Right? You got to say to yourself, you know what? Is that me? What is it which is really me?
Ashay.
All right? And Leo chose his path.
Aye.
Right?
Truly.
And me know if Leo never chose a path, that man they could have more than rich now.
Truly.
Because he's a very talented brother. Okay? So I acknowledge him for that. I acknowledge him also for when the school decided to keep out the young youth for having them dreadlocks. When we turn up there 8 o'clock in the morning. All right? We didn't see a lot of Rastafari down there. I mean, I knock Rastafari. But what me I say is that was such a great insult. Me is not a Rasta. It's such a great insult to say that a young man can't come in because of his locks. Right? I would have thought every Rasta man and woman, when them said that, would have down there. Okay?
It should have been packed down there.
A few was down there, but who was down there again? Brother Leo. Brother Leo come down there, and a few of the other brothers from the nation, them down there. And they're there at Carl Grant's tribunal. I haven't been there all of the time. Not saying I wasn't there in spirit, right? Brother Leo is there. Not because of the fame and the fame, okay? But he's there on that committed level. So let me just say is that number one, consciousness is one thing, but you got to put it into practice. Consciousness is not just something when you just have when you're amongst your own people, but when you're in front of your direct enemy, you make a stand.
Okay, let me stop you there. Let me stop. I have to stop you there because you're quite clever and you're quite good at removing the subject away from yourself. So you do the new, and then there's what happened with Cherry. Cherry got shot. Cynthia Jarrett is murdered. Yeah, and then there's that organising there. I think this at the point where you and Stafford link up.
Yeah, it's quite interesting when the first time I meet Stafford, you know, because.
And just to say, Elder Minka, because you have rudimentally evaded talking about yourself, it's 11:20. Show finishes at midnight.
Yeah.
And I want to give people the opportunity to call in and ask you questions and things like that and your answer. And so I'm going to have to get you back here.
No. Well, let me just say this to you, right? It really is about what we're going to do.
No. Elder Minka, You've been on Galaxy hundreds of times talking about what we're going to do. Galaxy ain't going nowhere. We will have time to do what we're going to do. The objective of this show is to talk about you.
But to talk
No, all in the elder, with due respect. Yeah? I'm doing this thing I'm doing is unsung heroes, people who's doing works in our community. There's a lot of people that talk that we see on television, them are MP, them are this, them are that. They're all these people. We don't see what they do. They say they're doing, but there's people like you in the background working, like Stafford, like Dean Okai, and others that I'll be bringing on here. That people don't know about, that people need to know about to get inspired, because you're inspiring people.
Bring on Sister Enzing and Sister Kai.
Yeah, I will be bringing. Elder, please. I'm going to open up the lines in the next 5 to 8 minutes for people to ask you questions. So we're at 1985.
Yeah, we meet up with brother Stafford. When I first met up with brother Stafford, I have to say things didn't get off too quick, too good.
Well, that tends to happen, isn't it?
But he's a beautiful brother, and as time went on, because it's because as certain people will know, it's like 1 week at the end of September. They shot Cherry Gross.
28th of September.
Right. And then now, the 6th of October. Right. Floyd, them go arrest Floyd, and then the next minute, them broke in Floyd mother house. Push her over and kill her. Right. That's murder, You know, I talk about no manslaughter. That is murder. Somebody coming in your house and push you over like that. Wicked. And so now, we just had our uprising down for Cherry down here, Cherry Gross down here. So when that happened, we gone down Benton to build up some solidarity. And I remember Stafford in one of the meetings then. Although we had a few meetings, to be quite honest, and a lot of the bigger meetings, we didn't have that necessarily have that one-to-one. But I remember one of the meetings we had down there. And we said, where you want to come? Is words to the effect, where you come from? We don't come from Tottenham. And we said, well, this is not a Tottenham issue, This is a state attack upon our community. And we're not going to deal with this issue of police violence if we don't come together to deal with it. But, Stafford is coming from a very, very strong community. Stafford is very rooted down in Tottenham down there. So I suppose I could understand it from that angle. Not necessarily seeing this as necessary. It was a Tottenham thing, and they know exactly what happened. They know exactly what they want to do, and who are these people from coming from outside telling them how to do this, how to do that. But as time went on, we really got on very well, and up to this day now, Stafford, I'm a good brethren. Very, 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 very.
Yeah, and if Stafford's listening, I'm hoping that he's going to call in.
A great organizer, I would say. Yeah. But one of the important difference between me and Stafford, Stafford is very good at mobilizing resources around the work that he is doing. Whereas with me, we never really was able to do that. Still, the broke pocket with me, three-legged dog out behind me. But no, but he's very good at mobilizing resources, and he's very good at being a very rooted person in his community down there.
So
having wider contacts and all of them things. So it's very good organizer. Enough respect to you.
So you meet with brother Stafford, and then you get involved with deaths in custody.
Yeah, I mean, but even before we leave Cherry Gross.
Yeah, but it's his time.
I tell you what. You see, what we need to do. I know that you don't want to do it. But as a community, is that at one point we were reasonably strong, and then we're kind of, I would say now we're kind of weak. There's a lot of strength there, but it's weak. And what we haven't done, we haven't effectively kind of really summed up what is it that took place that brought us the way we are now. Right. And
but Minka, look, listen, no, Elder, you're trying my patience now.
But we I tried it.
No, you're trying my patience. Yeah, but with due respect, Elder, we got enough time to do that.
All right.
There's other shows we can bring on and we can talk about that. And you've done that many times on Galaxy. People haven't heard about you. Every time you come in the studio, it's about, this organization, that organization, we're doing this demonstration, we need to do this. And the very same thing you're going to be talking about now. I don't want to hear that. May I tell you straight, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear about you.
You don't want to hear about the Saturday school?
Well, because you dilly-dallying, we can't get there.
All right. Come on now. Come on.
Yeah?
All right, Prophet, go on.
Right. So anyway, you get involved in deaths in custody.
Right. So this is what now? So it's about 93, but don't. It's about 9. No, that's about 87. 87. I think it's about 87 now. But let's say 85. 85, we had the shooting of Cherries. And I think 87 now. 87, we had the election of the Labour Party. And with the election of the Labour Party now, we get 4 MPs come true. And again, what I'm trying to show, what people just need to understand is that these people are always riding off our backs, of the masses back. Because if it wasn't for that, they wouldn't get in other position.
That's right.
The state is always trying to create individuals to be our so-called spokesperson.
Yes.
So alongside of that,
so who was the 4 MPs?
Well, we had Paul Botan, we had Bernie Grant, we had Dan Abbott, and then we had Keith Vaz at the time, and there was another woman, Sharon Atkins, and that is a serious. Let me go through it very quickly. You know, it's the treachery of these people. Sharon Atkins down at Birmingham. Quick one for you. Sharon Atkins, leading up to the election, all right? Sharon Atkins down at Birmingham. And as you know, we have our great brother, Binny down there. So them have one of these kind of election meetings, right? And somebody jump up and say, well, boy, the Labour Party is a racist party. Why we should have voted for them? She said, no, yeah, we agree, say, the Labour Party is racist. Next minute, you know, that get back to Labour Party at HQ. And them said to all of the 4 black MPs, them, listen, any uno go stand for we, you better denounce her and basically say, and make sure that none of our mouth say that this Labour Party is racist. Or you will not represent us. Actual facts. Letter them sign for that. And I know a lot of people love to talk about Bernie Grant. I'm not saying him not do a whole heap of good things. But that kind of, treachery in our way was really...
I never knew that.
Right. Very sad.
Let me stop there. You see why it's important for you to speak about events that you're aware of? Because I just learned something there. Yeah. I never knew that. Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people never knew that.
She would have been the other MP, but they just sidelined her for that. Anyway, so that was about 87. So 97. Yeah, so I hope me now get my timing wrong. But pretty soon after that, we set it up. You know, we had a series of killings of deaths in custody. And then we decided that, well, look, we can't really confront the issue of deaths in custody just as individual families. We have to pull all the different families together. So fast forward, you know, we had Joe Gardner, we had a few Roger Sylvester, Brian Douglas,
Wayne Douglas,
you know, all of these, and we said, look, we have to pull everybody together into one united front in dealing with that. Okay, and at that time, you know, it was predominantly black families. And as time went on and on, more and more white people started to get a bit more involved. Black community stopped supporting it. And as a result of that, it just got kind of watered down, as Malcolm X talks about the March on Washington. But simultaneously, through the work of my sister Afrika Bantu, we decided that we'd set the Saturday school. And at that time, around that time, hope I don't get my dates wrong, but whichever way it is, that's significant. So at that time now, it was called the Next Generation. We were confronted with the issue of our children's being failed within the school. And so we decided, by pulling together various different teachers, parents that we would actually set up the Saturday school. And as I said, at that time, it was
That was in the 90s, isn't it?
No, I'm sure it was 87. If it was 87, it couldn't have been 97. Because could it? 97, yeah, it was 97 because it was 99. We're about 23 years now.
It's 97.
Yeah, 97. Okay, so we fast forward to 97. And my sister, Africa Bank, she died now in 99. So after that, we renamed the school Africa Bantu.
Yeah.
But for me, those such a work in our community in terms of foundation, supporting our young people, was much more significant than a lot of these various different campaigns, important as they are. But any initiatives in our community that doesn't really address the support of our young people, to me, will never be as important. Because if we say that the youth, and Milka Cabral talks about the children are the principal reason for our struggle. And Amilcar Cabral, by the way, was one of the freedom fighters from Guinea-Bissau. Okay? Another warrior, great warrior. And if any people have any doubts about why Africa is in the way it is today, is that every time we have a freedom fight that stands up, they kill them. All right? And he was one of them. Okay? So don't just talk about corrupt leaders. They create these corrupt leaders. That's why they're there. All right? So we set up the school supporting our young children, and that continues up to today. And as you know, we've got an alliance with the Nubia Africa Community Foundation School, in which I know that you are, one of the pillars there. And in fact, just a matter of information, I was just on the bus the other day, and I met up with one of your the founder, brother Dr. Femi Biko.
Dr. Femi Biko. I spoke to him not yesterday, the day before.
Right. And he was saying, well, why go on? I'm saying, boy, the work is still going on, and that work there still continues. We still work with them. We also work, of course, with Al-Kabelan Academy of Excellence. And we've been coming together.
And we were working with Queen Mother Moore when they were up, but unfortunately.
Yeah, Queen Mother Moore.
We attempted to salvage it.
Yeah. And we rise up. And again.
Elder Yui.
Yeah. And we rise up. Brother Leader Bendaka again there because, it was in the forefront of that campaign. Also the campaign, as we know, with the John Loughborough School. And I only mention these things because it's not good enough for somebody to just give a good speech in a meeting, It's about, you get tested. And when you got to put your shoulder to the wheel. And these are people over the years. When we started off in many ways, many people I see around today, that in the early days, we never really get on too good. Right? But as we see people over time, you see people get tested. And when you get tested, then we know who is for real and who is not.
All right, people, you're in tune to the Nubian Forum People's Talk Show live on GalaxyAfiwe.com, the only de-brainwashing station in this nation. Right, I'm going to open up the lines for people to call in and ask Elder Minka questions.
And I'm going to ask which parish I come from.
Yeah. Let me just read this out. It says, "Greetings, Brother Minka. I would definitely buy your book. If you're too busy, if you're too busy, then speak it into a recorder and have someone else write it. It will inspire others to engage in struggle. I have a question. Have you ever questioned your decision to engage in the struggle? And if so, what got you through and helped you to preserve? Give thanks." For your example.
Right.
Before I answer that question, let me just give out the numbers. Right. The text number and the WhatsApp number is +44 if you're abroad. Oh, there's a call coming in. 1 second, caller, just 1 second. +44. Drop the next 0. 07377920703. You can send a text or a WhatsApp by that number, 07377920703. And if you want to engage and ask Elder Minka a question, +44 if you're abroad, drop the next 0. 0207-193-0174. Old top caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, my name's Stafford Scott.
Oh, Stafford. Well, go on, my brother.
Rise up, Stafford.
I mean, waiting but Minka's been entertaining everybody big time.
All right, brother Stafford. Respect.
Huh?
No, I say respect. Rise up.
I don't know why, brother. I was hearing you and remembering the old days, brother. Even though I don't recognize what you said about our meetings, I always remember just respecting the fact that you was coming all the way over from Brixton to support us on a regular basis, family.
Respect. Yeah, I think it was a meeting. I remember that meeting. It was a meeting just up from Wood Green. And I know there was quite a few other white people in that meeting as well. That probably kind of didn't go down too well. But I remembered that you were kind of questioning why outside.
No, you know the difference was, excuse me, we had a youth association. So we had an organization. We had this youth association there with established membership. So we felt that we had to be controlling and driving it. And remember, policeman died, so the investigation was particularly intense. As you know, because you came over there and you saw when they put raids on some of those homes and such. So we kind of was under lockdown, man. So we took a kind of, you know how it goes?
Yeah.
A serious attitude towards dampening engagement so that there was no leakages to the system. You get me?
I understand.
And it's why no one ended up in prison and why no one's in prison today for the murder of that police officer. Things just had to kind of lock down tight. But we always respected your support, brother. You know that. We love you for that, man.
Yes, brother.
Love you for that, man.
Love you as well, my brother. Because there's not many of us around left, Stafford.
For real. So
we just have to give respect for those that stood the test of time, and you're one of them.
There's enough how you come up. There's enough out there now talking as though they were around in those days, but we know they weren't there, man. And they're trying to create something different today.
But Stafford, the point has been made because I know he is a very learned brother. There people talking about writing a book. Have you thought about doing that?
You know what, my brother Ming, I'm going to be honest with you. So I was listening with you today, and I'm hearing Brother Kwaku trying to get you to talk about you. But what you keep on talking about is the campaigns and the activities and the projects and the issues that you're involved in. And that's the same with me, brother. I can sit down and try to write, and I can write about myself up to a certain point. So when I'm young and when the state is messing with me and when I get arrested for sauce and I go off the tracks. But once I become active, I find it hard to talk about myself. I just talk about the campaigns and that we've been involved in, the families that we've been supported and the issues that were at the fore. So the idea is there and it may happen, but man's still active right now, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I definitely read that book, Stafford, because as you say, there's a lot of, I don't know, Johnny or Janet come lately out there today that...
Well, maybe you and Stafford can co-write a book. That would be interesting. Yeah, you both can co-write a book because you're together at the same time, doing the same type of work, the same type of struggle, meeting the similar type of people and having the similar kind of experience. A lot of people write books together.
But I tell you, the discussion we want to have with Stafford, because we're supposed to be having trying to get a meeting with Sakant because it's brilliant work in the monitoring group down there. We want something like that down in South London, Yeah. So, and I noticed that there may be something going on already, yeah. But we do need something like that strong down here.
Well, Stafford, you're organising a demonstration on the 12th of September. You want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, and I just need to update Minka that I left the monitoring group in October 2018.
All right.
Yeah.
So what's the work that you're doing now, though, Stafford? Because you're still doing some advice work and things down there, isn't it? No?
No, I tried to take a break to protect my sanity still.
Right.
Stop from getting a breakdown, but you can't take a break when the crap is happening all around you.
Okay.
Right now, I'm just coming back, and I'm how would I say it, man? I'm reinstigating Tottenham Rights. That's my organisation.
Right.
Tottenham Rights goes back from Broadway Farm Defence Campaign, the Tottenham Defence Campaign, and Tottenham Rights is that organisation when it was linked to the monitoring group. And we're just coming back now.
Okay.
We're doing a campaign linked with the monitoring group and Forefront and Black Lives Matter UK, the official ones, around police brutality and police violence. Yeah. We had a demonstration in Tottenham on the 8th of August where we had about 1,000 people attend. It was a really powerful demonstration where we had a diverse platform of veteran activists, young activists, victims of police brutality and their family members. We've decided that we shouldn't just be holding these events in our own backyards. We're going to take it to the heart of Babylon. Make the beast them know that we're not happy. Make them hear our discontent. And make them hear that we're not going to wait for them to create a George Floyd here before we rise up. So on the 12th of September, we're going to be outside Scotland Yard. And I'm asking everybody who's listening to this program to come and support us. Come and have your voices heard. The police are more institutionally racist today than all the days that my brother Mink has been telling you about. They've formalized this something here. And they have... there is no one standing in their way. Even in the days Minka was talking about, we used to have local authorities that had police monitoring units. They monitored the police because they knew the police were so corrupt and racist. And those units didn't disappear because the police changed their behaviors. Those units disappeared because of economic reasons.
Yes.
So it's just us against the system. And we need to come together and stand together now because we don't want to wait until we have a George Floyd and then we go and burn down our own neighborhoods. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I hear that. But I got that in my diary now, brother.
What time are people supposed to congregate there?
It's going to be from 1 p.m. If people look on our website, it's www.tottenhamrights.org. They'll see that we have a petition calling for the commissioner to either resign or be sacked, and they'll see the flyer for the event. It's going to be from 1 o'clock till 4 or 5 o'clock on Saturday the 12th.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah?
Okay. I got it. Although I wasn't there last time, Brother Stafford, my sons was down there.
Sorry?
Although I wasn't down there on the Saturday.
Your son was
my son was there.
Really? You should have made him come and hail me up, man. That's one thing I got to tell people, you know. When Minka used to come to Broadwater Farm in the 80s, you know, Minka used to come with his missus, his partner, and his child in pram.
Yeah.
Right? So this was preschool learning that Minka was putting his children through to make sure that they grew up knowing and understanding the right path. And Brother Kwaku was in town too. He passed through the demonstration. He was riding through.
Yeah, I was there. It was a privilege.
Sorry?
It was a privilege.
Yeah, it's a privilege to have you in town, brother.
Give thanks.
And I hope that you're all able to come and join us on the 12th. Yeah. We put on a proper show, you know. It's not an amateur thing. It's built on the history and experiences that we've had in Tottenham. So our protests and demonstrations are lively and proper.
Very professional. Me know that.
Proper.
Yeah, well, keep calling on Sunday. Give us another update how it's going, so we know what's happening, etc.
Of course, my brother. Of course. Thanks for the opportunity, brother Minka.
Yes, respect.
I look forward to part 2 when you tell the rest of your story, because you only sound like you're part way through now.
Enough respect, brothers. Well, brother Stafford. Salute.
Well, Stafford, what I may have to do is have you and Minka in here at the same time. I don't know if I can. I'll have one of you, mate. Because I've got to get a part 2 with you. Yeah, so probably what will happen after the demonstration, Maybe I can get an interview with you after that demonstration.
At your convenience, sir.
Yeah.
At your convenience.
Okay then, my brother.
At your convenience.
We give thanks.
Enough love, my brother.
Enough
love, yeah, Minka.
Yes, sir. And yourself, brother. Respect every time.
Caller, what's the name? Where you calling from?
Before you go, brother Stafford. Yeah. Can we donate to your is there any way we can donate to your things?
Yeah, you know what, I'm just at the moment setting up Tottenham Rise as a community interest company, so at the moment I haven't even set up so people can do that, even though all donations are always welcome, I'm gratefully received, man. I wouldn't be able to tell you how to do that right now, you know, family.
Just put it in an envelope and just put it in his hand on the 12th. Simple as that.
We don't do the brown envelope thing still.
Yeah.
You can Stafford, you can do that. Just bring a little receipt pad with you, and you can just give them, say you receive it to Tottenham Rights, and everything is signed and everything. You got documents for it.
Of course, we always document everything, man.
It cried out, brother, right? When you're dead, right? We need to leave. You know, some of us have no family. It's like some of us, we might have no family, right? So we're gonna leave the land to the youths that you produce, and Brother Minka produce, and Prophet Quaker produce. They can have the land forever.
Of course.
So we need to know where we could we can put that fruit. You understand?
Of course.
It's not no joke. It's not no joke thing, you know.
Nobody never says any joke.
Things that we're being particularly weak with in this country here, right? We don't own nothing. That's one of the things we've been weak with, and we don't bring our young people together because we don't own the space where we can bring them all together.
Well, This is it.
That's right.
This is it.
This is part of our problem and part of our weaknesses.
That's right.
I don't want to leave the land to the cat or the dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, brother. Now, have you got a question?
Yeah, no. But brother Stafford Scott, man, is one of my foundation, and brother Minka. So I don't really need to ask any questions. But I would like to say that, boy, I mean, those people there, a foundation. Listen, man, we're talking about Jesus and all that thing there. I mean, listen, these people are more Jesus to me. You understand?
We're just real, man. I guess we're just real, man. And got touched in a young age to try to do things to support each other, man. We believe in the saying, each one teach one, and who know better for do better.
Don't.
That's what the principles community was built on.
You people are more like Jesus to me. So that's all I want to say, my brother.
Give thanks, brother Naya.
Otep.
Yeah, I got a text here. This is from
Prophet. I take ask a question before, you know.
Yeah, but that was him.
No. The text. The question was have you questioned?
Yes. You got you want to answer that?
Yeah, of course.
Go on.
Yeah, I think the question was, did I ever question my decision to engage in struggle? I would say definitely not. I'm never, ever questioning it. And I think that answer is linked to the other point of the question, which it goes on to ask, which is that what has helped me to go through? As I said, it's very much linked. What's helped me to go through is to remember what our ancestors have gone through. What's helped me is to realize what our parents have gone through. And when you understand what they've gone through, and not just that they've gone through good or bad experience, for the most part, in many cases bad, is that you understand that there's a system that's created this bad experience. That system has not gone away. And if we learn anything from history, it should be this. If you do not stand up to resist, then you will find whatever gains that you make will be taken away. As Brother Stafford was saying, you know, we had all of these monitoring and these of the police. They've taken it away. Why? Because our community have allowed them through going back to sleep after they think to themselves, no, we don't have to worry no more. He's absolutely right. The police are much more racist now than that they've ever been. And so that's what basically has helped me to go through. And when we understand that this system, and it is parasitical, it basically lives off our oppression and our exploitation. It lives off it. Once we understand that, then we know who is the target for this. The target for it is clearly our youths. I'm not going to be here forever. Most of the elders are not going to be here forever. It's the youths who are the target. And it seems to me that if we saying seriously that we...
Hold on, caller, hold on.
If we're seriously to say that we've taken a stand, this is not the time now to start talking about, well, we're going to rest and we're going to sit down. The only time we rest and sit down is when we've got our liberation. And if we've not got our liberation, we've got to stay on that battlefield because our youth requires us and demands us to do it. And so for me, I'm very clear in that regard. And so this is why sometimes I don't want to talk so much about myself, because we've got problems as a community. And for me, the major task is that how are we going to resolve it? And I say it's going to be within our unity. But it's not going to be in a unity on any terms. One of the mistakes that what we made in the past is that what we felt that, well, everybody that looked like us were actually for our struggles. And we can't make those mistakes again.
Yeah, caller. What's the name where you're calling from and what's your question?
Hi, Burchak. I'm Dalich. I'm not going to stay for long, but I'm going to ask this question to Brother Minka. Brother Minka, what do you think about, there are some people right now who's producing, writing books about what's happening in your TV, in your community, and between mafia and police and the corruption. They want to put it to action series, but they want the BBC or the other channels will not let them happen. But do you know of any producers or any black people out there that is going to do these series and for people to watch what is really going on in the community with effects and everything, like what's really happened to your community between the corruption, the police? That's all I want to say. Bye, peace, I'm out. I'm gone.
Thank you, Burchak.
I don't know any producers like that. But again, I think we need to understand that in the society that what we're living in, the white man doesn't let... I know a lot of people get excited over films like The Panthers and things like this, which me personally have a gripe about, because any films that talks about the Panthers that you can leave that cinema without realizing what the Black Panther represented and just talking about Wakanda, for me, as far as I'm concerned, it's actually doing a real great disservice of what the Panthers represented, and it's not an accident. The point is that the white man don't let nothing goes on his screen that doesn't benefit him. So this kind of idea that we're going to get all of these producers that's going to do all of these wonderful films. We've got great film producers out there, but everything is going to have to fit within this narrative of his. That's not to say that you mustn't make films, but we shouldn't have any illusions either about that. And if we want any real strong progressive films out there, then we've got to build up and strengthen our movement, and we're going to tell them that film there, we want it shown. If we're just going to just sit back and just think that, well, it's just going to be done by some great professional, then I guarantee you the underlying message of that film is going to be to reinforce the general ideas of the system, which is to maintain the status quo.
Thank you very much for that, Elder Minka. Text reads, Vodum Minka. You know where that's from? Yeah?
That's our great brother, Doctor. Go on.
Dr. Abu, and we big up Dr. Abu and his wife Madge. You know?
Yes. I've been missing out on the Galaxy family, but I understand that Dr. Abu's wife has not been feeling well.
Yeah, she's in King's College Hospital
Right.
at the moment.
And I'm just catching up with that, but I just wish her all of the best, and all of the best to her, and more strength to you, Dr. Habu, and you know, we're here for you as a family.
0207 193 0174. If you want to ask Elder Minka a question, please call in.
All right. Prophet, it's 5 to 12 now. Let me talk a little bit about the Saturday school now.
There's a question coming. Otep caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
Budumai.
Vodum.
Budumai, the time, Minka. Rise up, you know.
Rise
they
up,
are
Dr.
taking
Abu.
the eye, you know.
Rise up, Dr. Abu.
You know, rise up to all the work that you do over the years, you know.
And you, my brother, iron sharpen iron.
Real. When me know you, you never have no grey hair. I look at you.
That is true, Dr. Abu. But me not gonna die it, you know, Dr. Abu. You know, me not gonna die this year, me not gonna make it shine out, you know. Naturally.
No, that's true. And, you know, sometimes I look back some all the video clips them that we have, you know. And you always there, blood. You understand? As Stafford said, you know, you not know Johnny come lately, you know.
Respect.
You're a real deal, you understand, you know. And
respect, Doctor.
to the school, the Africa Bantu school and them thing there, you know. We give you all the praise, you don't see it, you know.
Enough respect, Dr. Abu, enough respect.
And I'm a virgin. And Prophet.
Yes, Elder.
Well, for vibration today, yeah?
Vodum, yeah?
Vodum all the time.
All the time.
Vodum every time.
Alright. Otep.
Prophet, let me just say something about the school now, please.
Yes, you can say about the school.
All right, give time.
But if somebody phone to ask a question, I will cut you.
You will cut me?
Yeah, go on. Speak about it. The number is 0207 193 0174.
Okay. One of the important...
See, now you have to rush to it because you see, if you did follow and work with me, you'd have had a whole heap of time. But go on, talk. Go on.
Okay, right. As I said, one of the important projects coming from 1997 is the formation of the Africa Bantu Saturday School. It is a school that gives support to our young people within the community around the academic areas of English, math, science, and Black stroke African history. We're now coming out of this pandemic that they have, and we're restarting the school on Saturday, the 3rd of October. The school is based in the St. Martin's Community Centre, Abbots Park, Upper Towsill, Southwest 2, 3PW.
Stop there. If people are writing that down, they're not going to get it. So repeat where the school is a bit slower so people can get to write it down.
All right, Prophet. All right. I'm sure you're supposed to be able to Google it somewhere now, but never mind. Africa Bantu Saturday School is at the St. Martin's Community Centre, Abbots Park, Upper Townsville, Southwest 2, 3PW. Now, where I will read slow is this phone number, which is very important. For further information, you get 07903 012757. Repeat. 07903 012757. Please text only, I have been told today, to inform the people. Please just text only to get any further information on it. I want to stress to our community in this particular period, our young people need this kind of academic support more than ever. And I know I've got many naysayers out there who say that, well, you know, the system is so bad. Why are we talking about giving them support to go back within the system? The fact is, one of our founder members, Africa Bantu, she was a homeschooler. So we're very familiar with that, and we don't knock homeschooling at all. But for those that are in the system, they would have fallen back significantly. And what we're saying is that our children need that every bit of support that they can have to navigate themselves through the system. So anybody which is out there that want to give their children that support, we cater for children from 5 to 16, and the same will go for the prophet beside me is also involved with a foundation school that supports children of a similar levels. Please, community, we need to support our young ones. It's good to be aware, it's good to talk, but at the same time, we must focus this talk and this energy into action. Prophet.
Yes, it's been a good interview. I'm not going to say it was an excellent interview.
It's all right, Prophet.
Because you deviate too much.
That's all right.
You overstand, but then again, that's you. So we just have to just low your panda one day. But I just want to say, Madasi, for taking out the time out your busy schedule, Elder, because I know that you're a grandfather now. Well, you're grandfather a few more times, but you're a grandfather again.
I'm a grandfather 8 times.
Yeah. And so, but you've got recent grandchildren.
Yes, definitely.
That you're involved in looking after.
Rise Up family, just again to say that, man, most of the guys in the family will know already, my daughter Afria, strong freedom fighter on the battlefield. Mm-hmm. She just had a little baby girl, Amara, the other day. And they're all doing well. We give thanks. Mm-hmm. And you're right, it does take up a lot of time. But, any time that you call Prophet, I am there.
Yeah, well, I called you 3 weeks ago. You wasn't there then. But don't watch nothing. Listen, though.
Watch it. Give me notice. Now that I ring me the night before about say.
Elder. Me personally, you've been an inspiration to me. Whether you want to know it or not, I've watched you over the years as a youth, man, growing up in Brixton. I used to see you walking up and down and all them things. Oh, brother, they're doing all them things there. I never knew that one day I'll be organising something with you. We worked together on the African United Action Front.
That's right.
We worked together on the Marcus Garvey Day, when it was Brixton Oval, them times there, and we've worked together on numerous different occasions, and we work together now with our Saturday schools. And so what you didn't tell them about is our the Pan-Africanist Sports Day. You want to give them a little bit information on that?
Yeah.
How that come about?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, we feel that as a Pan-African community, as Garveyites, that we must create a space for our young people to come together within family-orientated activities, and it's for that reason why we've reached out for the Nubia Africa Community Foundation and Al-Kabilan Academy of Excellence to create a space every year. This is not something that we just do one year. Every year that we come together as a family, and what we are expecting that to build and build. So if there's any Pan-African Saturday schools out there that want to get involved within that, we think that this is just another tier of how we rebuild our community. So these are just one of the other activities in which that we're involved with, and the main aim is not just the Pan-African Sports and Cultural Day, but we also work on other areas of work, such as the Kwanzaa celebrations, such as African History Month. It's to build upon it, so we create a momentum.
But within our community, the prime objective.
The prime objective is for us to really rebuild our movement. That's our prime objective.
The prime objective also is that we unify and create our own school.
Yes.
Ultimately, that's what the ultimate goal is. Yeah. That we create a school that's for us, by us, and run by us. Because it's all right as we move now as separate Saturday schools, but we need to be a school 7 days a week, or even we need to have a building institution where we're doing these things in there and we're running it, and it's funded by our community. And there's no reason why we can't fund something like that. We fund enough people that put on big dance and all kind of events, and we fund them, and when they get the money, they're going to give back to the Europeans buying the big old car and a flush out and all them thing, then nothing comes back into the community. So there's no reason why we can't fund those things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you, but for me, it's just about looking at it tactically and strategically. And what I mean about this is that supporting a school will not happen in a vacuum. It's not to say that we've got money. We have got the money. But we've got to understand why that money is not being channeled into supporting these important initiatives. And it comes back to this point about our consciousness. And it comes back to the point about seeing ourselves as a nation. And when you see yourself as a nation, you're building institutions which education is a part of that. And once we have that kind of awareness, then we will get that wider support. But I think outside of that, I think it's going to be difficult. But that certainly will be our objective, but it must fit within that framework of nation building. So that coincides with community defense. It coincides with having our own community building. Brother Stafford made the point, and we all know the point. We don't have a base in which that what we can say that's ours. That's our temple. That's our place of refuge. Okay, it's within that framework, and that's why the question of pooling our people together, because many of us out there within our community, we've got different strengths, and we've got to draw upon that. Too often, everybody wants to do the same thing. It's not going to work. Okay, where certain people have got particular strength, we've got to draw them into that. We've got to create the framework for that.
Old Top Caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, I'm Dr. Winston Mackenzie. I'm calling from Croydon.
Okay. Do you have a question, Dr. Winston Mackenzie?
Yeah, I'm a politician. I believe and I agree very much with the elder, what he's saying. Your plan of schooling and education, great idea, brilliant. But like he says, like the elder says, we have to be tactical and strategical. You have to remember that in this world, in this country that we live, we have no infrastructure. The 400 years that we've been in the wilderness is an awful long time to be out of business. We have no infrastructure in the city of London, nor do we have any infrastructure within the community. So when the elder says that we should look at it tactfully and strategically, he's right. What we don't want to see, we don't want a nation that's segregated from the whites. We have to work with white people, and we have to encourage unism. We can't come down to the level of those that are racist and reject us. In many parts of this country, I've had a great struggle in my time in politics. I've had so much struggle. I don't turn around and see any of my people there supporting the cause or pushing for what we really need. So many marches and demonstrations are going on at this present moment. But when the marches are finished, you have to ask yourself, what next? What now? Who's heard us? Who's seen us? Is there anyone who's taken any notice? And you'll find the answer is no. There are so many of us who have the mind and the will. We have the ambition with which to go forth, but we have no leadership. We are reluctant to support each other in business. We're reluctant to push each other forward. This attitude has to change. We have to take that great leap of faith into society and realize that we have to speak and do business with white people. You know, they're not all demons, you know.
Can I stop you there, please? Can I stop?
I'm finishing right
now. No. Can I stop you there, please? You mentioned it twice. I allow you with it the first time. Yeah. Right. I rebuff the statement that we don't support black business. That's a misnomer. What it is a type of black businesses. We support black business every week. In the barbers, in the hairdressers, in the food shops, in the particular raves that people do, in the particular performances and shows that are put on by black promoters, we do support black business. What happens is that a lot of those black businesses that's being supported don't support community work. So what happens is, somebody right now, the big thing that's out there is headphone raves. Like, people are going to raves in the hundreds where there's just a headphone. You have to have the iron the headphone is like £30 and pay for the headphone. And people are going to these things. What happens is these different promoters that put on these things and businesses that are doing quite well out of black people do not support grassroots organizations. So that money don't come back to us. It goes, they buy a big house or they buy a big car or then fly out or them build a hole somewhere else or something like that. It doesn't actually come back to the community in no shape or form. So I do not agree that black people do not support black business. Secondly, I'm not one of those persons to be calling up and telling us we must work with white people. We have no alternative but to engage with Europeans. We live in their country and we are the minority here. So that's a misnomer. It's a misnomer that black people have not tried to work with white people. So don't be ringing up here, brethren, with due respect, and telling us we must work with white. We don't must work with nobody. Yeah, when white people went to black people country, them never worked. Them worked for Tifa country.
I've said something, and you're complete.
Yeah, so I'm not really feeling that, King. Yeah, I know.
Prophet met the man down now.
I know the failures in our community, but I'm not going to have nobody demonize our community that we don't support black business. We bloody do.
Right, let the man finish and we can respond.
Can I respond?
Yes, sir. Yes.
What I'm saying is, a lot's changing now for black businesses. Hello?
Yeah, we're listening. We're listening.
Keep turning it down. I can't. Here we go again.
Doctor, may I listen? We can hear you. Go on,
Turning
speak.
it down, the volume.
No.
I can hear you.
No, you can be heard by the community, by people who's listening. Don't worry about that. People can hear you clearly.
I can hear you clearly.
Okay. What I'm saying is, I don't. You've completely turned it on its head. What? Hello?
Yes, I'm listening. Go on. We can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. What's happening?
I'll go over 12 o'clock now.
There are a lot of black businesses coming together. You're still talking. I can see.
I can hear you.
1 second. I don't know. Have you got your radio turned on or something?
No, I'm on the hand phone, and every time I talk, it goes dead.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you, beloved, is that we can hear you. So just talk. We don't have to keep interrupting you when you're speaking. Just talk. People can hear you. Just keep talking.
With regard to black businesses, I'm not putting black business down or black people down. What I'm saying is we have to do more for ourselves. There's so much more that we can do to turn things around. And if we are in the corridors of power, where it really matters, and we organize ourselves politically, life will be so much easier for us. That's what I'm referring to.
Okay.
When I deal with these politicians, and I've been there now for the last 20 years, we haven't got the representation that we need in Parliament. And we've been hoodwinked by Labour and the Conservatives decade after decade. That's why I've formed my party now, Unity in Action, to encourage some of our people to come forward and do what they have to do. So I'm not knocking black business on my people, as it may sound that way, but that's not the case. Anybody who knows me will know my attitude towards what's going on.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that, Doctor. I just wanted to just touch on a couple of the points that you've raised, which is that, when we talk about, and it's a common misrepresentation that that is out there. That every time black people talk about loving themselves, coming together, people want to interpret that as some form of racism, some sort of subtle, reverse racism or something. And I just want to make it clear that this is not what we are saying at all. So for me, the fact that you're in an independent party, you say is the Unity in Action Party, I take it that's not necessarily an African-only party.
No, it's not. It's open to everybody.
Right, it's open to everybody. But that's fine. That's fine.
We have to unite.
I just want
with each other.
Yeah, I just wanted to be just clear on what grounds we're kind of engaging on. And as I says, I've given out the number already of the school in which that we're involved in quite a few other community organizations. We don't mind if you contact that number, do a text, not a message, just text, and then we'll get some people to meet up to see how we can develop some strategic unity, because I think we're both in agreement that as black people, that we are oppressed, we're exploited, and we need to do something about it. And anybody who is interested in doing something about that, then, we need to be having some exchange. So do text that number to see how we can possibly go forward.
I'm planning to become Mayor of London in 8 months' time. Yeah.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but for me, from my standpoint, when I talk about being strategic, I think the key issue for us is for us to develop a consensus amongst ourselves as a community, in which that what we create our own manifesto, and from that we then see what political parties are out there that are prepared to respond to our demands, not necessarily just supporting any organization for the sake of supporting them, but the prerequisite to that is about us being together, because from together we can have that strength. Now, it doesn't mean to say that we can't, and please, Prophet, don't take it too far. It doesn't mean to say we can't work with others who are not Africans. But what I'm saying is that the standpoint I'm coming from is that my priority and my focus is about how we as African people can be much more consolidated, and then we engage with others. So I don't think that we're at odds in that regard. And what I'd also say too as well is that, which I didn't have an opportunity to say before, because I thought, Prophet, that we ended at 12 o'clock and I was getting ready to go. However, is that we're also calling for a coalition day, African Coalition Day. It doesn't exclude people that are involved in organizations which are not exclusively African. But within that, it's about trying to pull together without forming a new party, because you've already got one, right? Yeah. But that could be potentially a platform at a later stage for people to be aware.
I'm looking at
to be aware that there's such initiatives taking place. But the key thing about such a coalition day, which would only be Africans attending, by the way, or invited.
See, if we put ourselves in a bargaining position,
right,
and that bargaining position can only come about through unity.
So listen. Contact that number again, and we'll give you information, because there's important initiatives within our community, such as the Summit of Solution. Go on,
Winston.
Yes, sir.
You know what I love about this platform that I have the privilege to stand on, and our listeners, that we have some heavy researchers, and I'm of the understanding that you ran with Nigel Farage.
Yeah, for nearly 10 years, and I learned an awful lot.
So you ran with Nigel Farage. You got anything to say to that?
Well, you see, as I said to you before, I mean, we're very clear about where we kind of stand, but I'm not one of these people that look at Nigel Farage as if he's any different from Tony Blair. In fact, I think sometimes when I look at somebody like Tony Blair in office, right, is causing a lot much more damage to our community. That's not to say I'm any friend of Nigel Farage.
No.
But what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, we should not be emotional about the situation. Because there's other people that would also say, well, look at Barack Obama. Oh, we should go out and support Barack Obama. The fact, the reality is, and when we talk about Black Lives Matter emerged under Barack Obama around Trayvon Martin. Yeah. So, we've never had more mass incarceration of our people than we did under the Democratic Party under Clinton. So
they are the KKK.
So we've got don't go along with these titles about KKK, because to me, I'm just looking at people's actions. Okay, and I think when we move, we must move strategically, and as long as we've got our power base and we've got the support of our people, because ultimately they're the ones we've got to be guided by, then we will engage and we'll talk to anyone. But we don't get this feeling that, because I say we, I'm talking about myself now, because I know Prophet may dictate.
Yeah, no, with me personally, now call him.
Right.
We just make it clear, because me now deal with nobody who deal with Nigel Farage. It's a simple. If you want to go meet with them, you go along. Me now deal with them, the people.
We'll take a different. We'll take a different view.
It's as simple as that.
But what I'm saying is that when we look at politics today, there is this kind of almost skewed view to say that, on one level, and this is what's been created in America at this moment in time. Been creating this kind of idea that, Donald Trump is they call him fascist, which I have problems with that term, but we ain't got time to go into that.
Yeah.
And then we've got this Biden fella. But as push comes, as night follows day, you can guarantee you, wherever Biden is going to come in, it's not going to be any fundamentally different from what...
None of them ain't no better.
From what
none of them ain't no better.
But what we've got to do, you see, we've got to look at the various different policies, and then we've got to say to ourselves, we're a bloc now. This is what we want.
But we're not a bloc.
Well, that's what we've got to work on.
Yeah, but that's what we've got to work on. But at the moment now, we're not a bloc.
Yeah, but what I'm saying...
So what I'm saying is this. 1 second, Winston.
I know you...
Winston, 1 second, please. Yeah? What I'm saying is, forget about all of them. And let's concentrate what you said earlier on us galvanizing ourselves. And when we have galvanized ourselves to be that block, then we engage with them. That's what I'm talking about.
That's going to be magic. And that's the whole point.
Yeah?
You remember when the likes of Dr. King was running, he was never politically elected, but he had the power and the unity of the people. And that's what we have to work on.
Yeah.
So, we got another caller here, Winston. You want to land?
Dr. Winston, take the number. I hope you got the number. Give us a ring and let's follow up with some discussions.
No problem, guys.
All right.
We'll talk soon.
All right.
Easy.
Yes.
Next caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? The caller's gone. All right, now.
Say a little bit on the coalition there.
Pardon?
Coalition there.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that coalition there.
African coalition.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that you mentioned that. Because a few weeks ago, I had myself, Dr. Abu, Chief Prokombabai, Sister Shanice, and Sister Anua in the studio.
Word.
Yeah. And out of that came something that just came out of my mouth. Because obviously we were involved together with the African United Action Front, which was kind of supposed to be an umbrella group. And then obviously, then you had the Black United Action Front, and then you had INAP. Yeah? And I was saying that what came out of my mouth was that what we should have is an African Coalition Council.
All right.
And you've just come in here and said there's an African Coalition Day.
Right. Well, we'll work towards that. Prophet, by the way.
Talking at the mind,
Prophet. Let me just get this, because I know when I used to, and enough respect, by the way, to my brother Dougie. I know some of my sister in Ketchie.
Yes, sir.
who, as we know, passed recently. And, we rise them up. And we know how great people are when they passed by the works in which that they've done. And they stood the test of time.
Yes, they did.
They're not one of these people that we can look around and says, yeah, they were this. No, they were what they say they were right to the end. But I'm reminded of Brother Dougie. And I hope this doesn't turn into one of the Dougie situation. When I used to go down to SLR, down over North London, I used to be so surprised that on his show, they're going on to all hours of the morning. And Prophet, we must set time on the thing. It's like when I used to speak to Doug, it's like there's no time. But Prophet, we can't have that situation. When this
hold on. If you read the text, I said 9 p.m. and then I put a question mark. Read it.
All right, Prophet. All right. Okay. Well, all right. We're coming back to the...
And the reason why I did that...
Right,
one second, Elder.
But I hope you have in mind some kind of time. That's
one second, Elder. The reason why I did that, because I know the person who I'm interviewing.
I know as well.
And as you can see, we haven't even gone halfway.
Yeah, I know. But
with you, and that's because
but
you're not being disciplined because you're not following the line. You're just going off the way you want. Or I might as well sit down and slow you for just chat and I interview you. It's as simple as that. Go on, talk about the coalition. Go on.
No, because
talk about the coalition.
Yeah, okay. So, for people in our community that may not be aware, although me know even the tune in to Al-Kabelan speaks on Monday night. I think it's 8 till 10.
8 till 10.
8 till 10. Right. Every Monday, so must tune in upon that show there. So I try to myself, but Lord have mercy. I just get pulled all over the place. But I know that they're doing great works there. But they are original Garveyites. We can't take nothing away from them on that. Garveyites to the fullness. Now, this year is the 80th anniversary since Garvey passed in this country here. We also know that this is the this is not for our cable and listeners, because we know so that them know all of this, but we still have to tell the wider public still, community. We know that this is the 100th year, okay, since the major convention, UNIACL convention in America, in which that Garvey pulled together up to around 25,000 people. And it wasn't just in a march. It was really a part of the process of this nation building. Okay? We know he unfolded his Declaration of Rights in that convention, and we also know he brought to us the red, black, and green flag that many of us are familiar with. And for those that don't know Garvey was not a person which just goes around just following people. Garvey says where he doesn't see something, he will create. And that's what we've got to be. Stop following. We've got to be coming back to that original state. And so within that framework, I've been having meetings because he died 1940 in June, 10th of June.
June 10th.
Right, 1940. So since that day, there's a brother from over Brent called Kwaku, and he's very keen to always correct me. When anybody call him Kwaku and say, no, I'm not Kwaku, I'm Kwaku, and that's fine. And I'm correcting myself. It's Kwaku. All right, so some brilliant work over the Brent side. Does a lot of work around music and just raising awareness, and particularly struggling around, raging a campaign around Afrophobia. And he could put out a call about a coalition day. And so, around the acknowledging the contribution of Garvey. So from that meeting, we discussed the need and the importance of a coalition day. And the coalition day wasn't really about creating a new organization, but it was precisely about bringing peoples together, because as I mentioned earlier on, we've got initiatives within our community, such as Summit of Solution, and I was on the education committee, in which that they kind of fell down because of my weakness on the technological front in terms of communications. But nevertheless, very important initiatives were taking place there. We also have other initiatives in our community, such as the Community Ministry of Justice. But what was clear, and we've got organisations like the Global African Congress, etc. What is clear is that as a community, we're still not being effective. And what is clear in our community is people are saying that, well, we don't really come together. And what came out that meeting back in June was that we said that, we should have an African Coalition Unity Day, and it should be annual, and we should institutionalize that. So that should be a day in which that what we all come together, sharing the experience of what we are doing, not seeking to reproduce. Because one of the biggest problems we've got at the moment is that there's a lot of different initiatives going on, but people are not collaborating and working together.
Right. Let me just stop you there, Elder. Let me just stop you there. Everything that you have said, the First of Messiah incorporates that. That's what it's about. The annual African Emancipation Day Reparations March. Hold on. Everything that you have just said, that's what it's about. It's about us galvanizing together. That's what that actually. Look, I don't have no issue with what you're talking about. The African Coalition there. I ain't got no issue with it. What I'm saying is everything that you're saying is what was visioned and what has been in documentations, in public meetings for the last 7 years.
Yeah, but
so hold on a second, Elder. Let me finish, please. Okay. So when you say you don't want to recreate the wheel, that's what you're doing.
All right.
That's what's being done.
Okay.
I have no issues with the African Coalition Day. I think it's something good. But don't say you're not recreating the wheel, because that's exactly what it is.
We're not recreating the wheel. I mean, we haven't really got the wheel off the ground yet, so I'm not sure why you're saying we're recreating the wheel. But, the starting point we must always have when we're dealing with life is to be real. And the fact is that anybody that attended the 2014 Reparations March will see a big difference between that and 2019, 2020. And I think it's fair to say that each March, I think it was 2014 coming up, each March afterwards has lessened its impact. Now, it may well be, some people say, well, the quality is improved. It may well be. I have to say, when I went to the 2020 Emancipation Reparation, I have to say I left there quite confused.
It was a lockdown.
It was a lockdown. I have to say I left there quite confused. And it underlying that march is a problem within our community, in which we must move away from, and I say I'm not recreating the wheel. And the problem underlying that within our community, there's still too many factions in our community. And for me, this is what I'm saying, it's not about recreating a new organization. It's just for us to say, I mean, I've had differences with you. I've had difference with many people, the Galaxy family. I've had difference with Pan-Africanists. I've had difference with Garvey. Brother Leader Bandaka will tell you all the differences that we've had. But the fact, at the end of the day, we're still a family. All right? So to talk about a unity day, we just have to just recognize that, this is bigger. This is bigger. That day is bigger than any one of us as individuals. That's why we're probably not so keen in talking about myself, because too often we center too much on the individual.
No. You're not gonna pull that one on me. No, you're not gonna pull that one on me, Elder Minka. And we focus too much on ourselves. I mean, who are these people you're talking about? If you're talk to something. Who you talking about that focus on them? Because you've said this from the inception of the show. Yeah. So give me an example of who is talking about themselves. Because I don't hear most of the presenters here talking about themselves. I don't hear people with, I don't hear you talking about yourself in your organization. We don't talk about ourselves in our organization, and other organizations that I see doing works. They just do the works. So who is this individuals that's talking about themselves? Please endarken us.
You want to be endarkened? All right. I always talk about tactics and strategies. You know, too often we as African people are very good to come in the air and just to really talk about this unity. I'm saying that we've got problems within our community, and we need to, the people out there know who they are. We need to go behind closed door and sort all of these things out. That's all I am.
Right,
that's all I'm saying at this moment.
Right.
But I'm not here to come and.
No, with Messiah Day, with the African Emancipation Day, the first of Messiah, there is a petition with it. It's called the Stop the Maangamizi petition. Have you read it?
Yes, I am. That's
right.
It
Right. So does the petition talk about the people who started it themselves, or is the petition talking about the people?
Right. You see.
No. I just want a simple question. You said you read it. Does the petition talk about the people them who orchestrated the petition, or does the petition talk about the people?
No disrespect to the authors of that petition, and the example that I'm going to give may seem not appropriate, but let me say this. If you look at a lot of the councils around, or even this government, but I look at the councils in particular, you know, you won't find a body which has any greater anti-racist policies that you could ever imagine. You see, people in life are very good at writing things down, but I don't test people. I mean, it's important to get things written down, don't get me wrong. I'm a great believer in writing, but the key test of the genuineness of any institution, any body, or any individual is not just what they say or what they write down, it's what they do. Okay? And what we're seeing at the moment is that we have some divisions. We may not like it, but it's there. So I'm not saying that you don't have a great policy, but at the end of the day, the reality is the people that was at the beginning of this march are no longer there. That doesn't mean to say that these people are not as committed, and I'm not going to say this person is to blame or that people is not to blame. But the fact is that our community was stronger with what took place there. Now, at the end of the day, if we turn around at certain individuals, and then when we hear certain individuals says that, well, boy, if this person not go there, so me not going to go there, you know, that's a problem.
Right.
And we got to face up to
One second. No. You see, Elder, if you're going to tell a story, tell the full story. Don't tell part of it. Now, to say that the people who was at the beginning is not there no more is an incorrect statement. What you should be saying is a lot of the people that was there at the beginning,
I stand corrected,
is not there. There's people that come and people that don't come. Maybe because it's every year, they get complacent. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah? We know what happened in 2015. 2015 is where the division happened. We know why. You understand what I'm saying to you? So don't be coming and saying that, remember, you know, if, and I don't want to dredge up old wounds, but if the people did not decide to organize that march in 2015, it would not have happened. It would have gone in the park and it would have been a park event. Because the people them that was principal in it, in organizing it, said, well, boy, we done what we wanted to do. We're moving to something else. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's not correct to come in and say that. And what I'm saying, the point that I'm trying to make is that you made the statement about individualism. And I asked you if the document that you read was about individualism. Then you went round and started talking about racism, and we can talk about anti-racism and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, but Prophet,
so you changed the dynamics of your own statement, Elder.
Well, I'm here. I'm not,
anyway, listen, look. I'm going to take a concerted effort, and I'm going to stop you there. And I'll tell you for why. Because I didn't call you here to have a debate with you about our political differences. I called you here because I respected you for the work that you did. And that's what I wanted to do. Yeah. No. With due respect, Elder, I'm going to take a stern measure here. Executive action, because I'm running this show. Yeah. And I don't want to have to say that to you, Elder. But I think I've given you enough leeway throughout the entire show that we were here. And if I allow you to continue, we're just going to go somewhere else. And I don't want it to go like that. I will invite you back another time where we can just have an open forum and we can debate all sorts of things. But today is not the time for it, because I brought people here because I wanted them to know what you're doing. So if it's something that you're doing, and if you want to finish what you're saying, finish what you're saying, and we just leave it at that.
Right, Prophet. Give enough respect, and I respect for what you say there, Prophet. But we're talking about the coalition there, and you made the point as if to say this is something that what we've done already. And what I'm saying,
Elder, not Elder. May I tell you the truth, you know? No. May I tell you the truth? Talk about the day Aya, and don't talk about because I don't come here for that, Elder.
The coalition. So
so go on, talk about the day.
So what we're saying is that we really need to solve this issue. This division, you know, we really need to do it, and I can't stress enough about that. And I think we're going to do it. The way which we're going to do it is going to be through united action. Okay, and so within the coalition day, which we want it to be an annual day. I know that you said it's the same as the, and this is where we kind of got sucked into a discussion over the reparation, and I'm happy not to discuss it, because at the end of the day, I don't want to go into details because it's not fair on the listeners. They don't know the ins and outs of what is going on there. But the point is that you said it was the same as what we do on August the 1st, and I was just pointing out to say I hope it doesn't turn out to be like that, because what I want us to try and understand, what I'd like to, and this is by no means at very early stage, because the first meeting, by the way, family, is going to be planning meeting. It's going to be on the 3rd of October. And that number that I've given out, people can find out more about that. And as I said, it's coming back from a discussion in June. The purpose of it really is us to try and focus around the community empowerment, but not in a way as if we've got a new organization. No. It's really about people. So people is working on education. People is working on mental health. People that's working on youth, economics. All very good work going on in our community. I've mentioned Brother Lee already. He's doing some good work over West London, over West Side Academy. Beautiful work with some of our young boys. We worked with them once on the Pan-African Sports and Culture Day. What we're saying is that we've got some good examples going on in our community, and we must come and have a day in not only celebrating these good examples. When you come along as New Day Africa Community Foundation School and demonstrate the work in which that you're doing, it empowers our community, because we're so confronted day by day. Oh, is this unity? Oh, we can't come together. And we're doing some brilliant work within our community. So we've got to showcase that. We've got to then do what you're saying, which is that let's see how we can take it to another level. All right? But none of it is going to be based upon, this organization or that organization. No, it's not about that. We're not trying to create nothing new. What we're trying to do is to strengthen the work in which that what we're doing within our community. And when we say having an African Coalition Day, the proof of it is going to be when we can have, and I know who they are, they know who they are as well, all of those people within our community who find it so difficult to come together can hopefully come together on that day. But they're going to come together on that day Not necessarily because I like this person or don't like that person, but it's how we can strengthen that serious work in which that what we're doing within our community. So I hope that to be a very different day than what we've got at the moment, because we really need it. We really do need it, because our lack of coming together is resulting in our youth being victimized on an unprecedented level. Okay? And we have got to do our best. Whatever it is that what we're doing, we've got to be honest with ourselves and say that, you know what? This is not necessarily working. What can we do to improve it? Doesn't mean to say that what we throw everything that what we're doing out the window. No. But we recognize that what we've got to try and do better. Okay? And that unit today for me would be a good example of that. And it's going to focus around action. Okay? Now the number is the same number that I'm giving you, because unfortunately I don't have the email for the brother. I'm going to try and see if I can get the email for the brother, that you can get further information on the coalition there. But it's going to be on the 3rd again of October, and the number, if you want to get involved and feed into that process, is 07903 012757. Okay? A lot of positive work going on in our community, and we need to share that. All right? That's all we're saying about that particular day. All right? And it's going to be annual. Just as we have with the our Parents and Ancestors Day that Galaxy has taken a lead on. Once people come together and just even know, somebody says a little bit about that on that day, who knows? People in a Birmingham, people in a Manchester, people in a West London will say, you know what? We want to have our own Parents and Ancestors Day. We've got some good work going on the ground. It's about how we share that. And as a result of that, with Garvey being the foundation, we're gradually moving towards pulling together a movement in action. Not just a movement of talking, but a movement in action. So, Prophet.
Oh, you finished?
When we finish? I can't believe that the Prophet. What going?
No, have you finished?
Yes, me
all
finished.
Right. Because I need to read this text out, yeah. Because so well done, Minka. Our brother Kwaku don't listen to a damn thing. Like to hear his own bloody voice too much. People ain't stupid. People are quite aware of the stumbling blocks. They just need to get a damn good mirror and look at themselves. So that's coming from.
Now, can I just say that, you know, brother or sister, whoever it is that sent that text, you know, we have to be a little bit more respectful.
Yeah, that's the text that came in.
We need to be a bit more respectful of each other. Now, me and the Prophet here, we will have difference, you know. But as I said, within family, we're going to have difference. But the starting point is that we must really be respectful to each other, or we cannot go. We cannot go anywhere. All right. So that's what I would say to that brother there. Brother Prophet Kwaku remains my close brethren. He is, you know. So please do not get upset, because I'm not upset.
Well, please do not get it twisted. Obviously, people hear what they want to hear, innit? I think I've given you a fair run and crack of the whip, haven't I? As they say.
Hey, Prophet, when you start talking about whip, you take me back to where them did my ancestors.
Yeah, true.
Kind of
yeah. Well, I gave you a fair share of the pay, yeah, and allowed you to speak. I didn't call you here really to speak about those things.
You did, because I think what the brother needs to understand as well is that we're kind of coming from two different approaches, and I think, as the Prophet says, that, you know, he's giving me a lot of leeway, and I know the Prophet, in terms of trying to approach it in a different way, because, you know, he's kind of, because there's been two agendas kind of going on here today. You may not have picked it up, but you know, there's an agenda about to find out about me, and I'm here to try to talk about the struggle, and so it's about how we kind of find that middle ground, okay? But there's nothing wrong with those different approaches, but they're real in our community. You know, people have different perspectives, yeah? But we must be respectful to each other.
Is there anything that you want to say, any last words you want to say, Elder, before you leave? Evidently, people didn't really find out about you.
Yeah,
I think people found out, a segment about you, but not as much as I wanted to. People say, because you don't want people to know that, and that's fair. So, you've had your opportunity, and I've given you opportunity, and it's recorded as one of our unsung heroes, Elder Minka.
Right. Now, as I said when we started off, I really like to see myself as a foot soldier. There's many people within our community doing some sterling work, and we have to rise them up and acknowledge them. And I want them to know that, the key to the problems in which what we are facing at this moment in time is a lack of us coming together. Now, I know that people will say, yes, we hear that already, Brother Minka. But this time what I'm saying is in action, okay? We're actually doing a concrete education program, action on the ground. And anybody that comes to see our children, okay, will see what we can do when we put our time and energy into that. Now, what we're saying is that this work needs to be enhanced, it can be strengthened, and we're calling upon our community when I come out at this time of the night, all right? And I'll come out at any time, all right, because I just want to see our people in a much better place than where we are now, and I know we can actually do that. And what we're saying is that, we've got to take that initiative in regards to coming forward to make that a reality. Now we're doing some good work on the education front. And what we're saying is that we want to build upon that. And so when we put out the call for people, we want them to respond, we want them to give them support, because we want to reproduce this in the various different areas. And unlike what a lot of people like to kind of focus on, which is that, our community is pure negative, people not coming together. No, there's a lot of good things going on. And we have got to talk about how we can strengthen. We've all got our roles. And it disappoints me sometimes when I listen to Galaxy and I hear these individuals, they'll come up and they'll give you the whole 9 yards about what needs to be done. And then the question is asked, what are you doing? What commitment will you make? And all of a sudden, we get silence. So, I'm just saying that this is what we need to do. It's been an honor to come here today to share with you some of my experience, Prophet. But at the end of the day, people, it's not just about us being aware. It's about what we do. And I cannot stress that enough. I've noticed over the last few weeks, you've had some brilliant people coming to the studio. I understand it's been reported to me, Prophet Kwaku. And then I rise up, my great sister lady on the hill, right? It was always keeping me informed of things that I miss out. Rise up there, lady on the hill.
No, Jackie. Jackie on the hill. Right. I haven't heard from Jackie for ages, man.
Lady on the hill.
Right. Lady in the hill, all tight.
Right. Always, anything I miss out, because, I don't really listen as much as I like to do. It's like, I don't know, it's like certain times I tune into Galaxy. It's like you got certain individuals. I don't think they leave their is it their phone or what? It's like they're always there. We rise up Brother Kwame from
Nottingham. I haven't heard from Brother Kwame tonight.
Yeah, nothing.
I haven't heard from Brother Kwame tonight.
You got some really devoted people out there. I just wish I could organize myself to tune in to the big G as much as some people. I'm just really. They need to tell me how them organize themselves like that. So that is really good. But the issue is about them coming together. But we've had some great brothers. So I'm open. I'd like to throw out a few sisters that you may want to...
Well, if people give... I got some sisters I'm going to interview.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to interview loads of people. There's loads of people who don't even know they're going to get interviewed. Right. Is going to get interviewed.
Well, a few sisters out there much more worthy to speak to than I. I would say...
I'm not going to... Look, Elder Minka. I'm not going to accept you downplaying yourself like that. Right? You do that on another show. Don't do it on mine. I know the work you do. I've worked with you. So don't downplay yourself like that.
Prophet?
Yeah?
All right.
So, anyway.
Yes.
I'm going to end the show.
Can I make a few suggestions?
No.
Eh?
No.
Can I make a few suggestions?
No.
All right.
No.
Okay, well, let me just give people the number again.
Yeah.
All right. For the Saturday school. Okay? And as I says, it's about part and parcel of rebuilding our community. And that is not separate from the African Coalition Day. But I want to stress for the Africa Coalition Day and the Saturday school, we've had some problems with our normal numbers. So the number that I'm giving out at the moment is a number that we just want you to text at the moment. And what's going to happen is that you're going to text the details and then somebody's going to get back to you. All right? So the number for that is 07903 012757. I'll repeat it again. 07903 012757. Please text that number there. I just want to thank you, as I said, mention Prophet Kwaku for inviting me in. I want to also just thank again the Galaxy family. I want to thank particularly Galaxy management and all of the presenters. I want to say that you're doing sterling work. You know, this is African liberation work, and it's not easy. We're giving our time, not because we couldn't find nothing else to do, but because we believe passionately in a change. We understand that it's not good enough to just know what we've done great in the past, but it's to recognize we can also do greater in the future. And why shouldn't we do greater? Because we've got so much to learn from. And our youth, we say the youth is our future, but they don't have no future if we don't lay that foundation for them. And so I want to urge you all to continue to support the brilliant work that Galaxy is doing, and all those community radio stations that's talking about raising the level of consciousness. Those ones that just play music all the time, you can give them a miss, because really and truly we're in a state of emergency right now, and anybody that don't recognize that, we shouldn't have any time for them. All right? If you don't want to listen to music, I'll play some on the old records, because them are the best records anyway. Right? We need to be, radio stations need to know that the state that what we're in, and doing their very best, playing their part, and Galaxy, par excellence, has been playing that part in terms of the de-brainwashing. So I just want to really acknowledge the work that you do. Organizations such as us could not reach out as well as we can do to our community if we didn't have a vehicle like Galaxy. I want Galaxy family to know whatever I can do to give support, I will always do it. I'll rise up all of our volunteers within our Saturday school. Our Sister Lorraine, Sister Juliet was there from the beginning, Sister Mayakam, Elder Carol, we've got also Junior Carol, Brother Quay, our parent coordinator, all of them, you know, all of the teachers which are there, can't list them all, I mentioned Brother Kyle, there's still Sister Lydia, all of them out there, Sister Rachel, all of them, past and presents, who give up their time, you know, so that we can provide a better future for our children. So I just want to give a big shout out to them, and to say that when we look at our young people and what we've produced, we know we can make that difference. But I also want to say to the Galaxy family, you know, whilst we produce some very good, strong individuals coming out of our Saturday schools over the years, I was just looking at brother young Andre from your school over there, so Prophet. You know, such brilliant young people, young cudgel. You know, what they're finding is that even now when they've got those qualifications, they're still being blocked. Okay? Even though they got the qualifications, when they go out in the street, the police just see them as another black African person. And so we have a duty as a community to ensure that we give them that protection as elders. All right? And I'm saying that Galaxy, in its own way, has been in the forefront of making sure that that work is highlighted and continues. So I want to thank the family for that.
Madasi, did you like the ginger beer? I made it.
You made the ginger beer?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you could get in some business with this in a profit. So with the ice.
Right, I got a text here before I close. I got a text here that says the person is sick who sent that message to the prophet, and I get a glimpse of that crazy man.
No, we can't say that, you know.
Can I just read the text, please? I think, please. Yeah, rise up, Kwaku. You tell Elder Minka, rise up and shine. Yeah, and that's from Sister Anoa. Well, it's the end of the show now.
Prophet, just send that.
Elder, would please. It's the end of the show. And I want to thank you for coming, taking the time out of your very busy schedule to come. I'm sure people really got a glimpse into who Elder Minka is and the work that you have done over the years, decades, in coalition with other people. And you're always striving for our people to find unity. I must say that unless people are aware, they cannot engage in struggle. Because it's all well and good to say, do the work. But if people are not aware, I wasn't aware for, I did things, I knew some things, but I wasn't totally aware until I really started to engage in works. And how I got aware was because of Dr. Femi Biko. When I went to Dr. Femi Biko's Black Studies class, and he's the creator of the Black Studies history classes, the light came on. The light came on and I never turned back. And I've never regretted a day of doing it. But people like that needs to be there to awaken other people, because our people are asleep. Our people are asleep in different parts of the country, different parts of the planet. I've had the privilege to travel to different parts of the Americas, different parts of the Caribbean, and different parts of the African continent and Europe. And wherever I've gone, doesn't matter whether it's the continent, and see our people are not aware of a lot of things. In some cases, they're just thinking about how they're going to make the next money to feed their children them or pay their bills. They haven't got time to be worrying about struggle and this and that and what happened and re-te-te. So the fact that people in those various towns and cities and countries take their time out, like you, Elder, to get that information to our people, it is a necessity. Because we're losing a lot of our people to the institutions, to the mental institutions, to the judicial system, to the educational institutions. And so it's incumbent and necessary for stations like Galaxy and others,
the only the brainwashing,
yes, to send out messages speaking about what's happening in the African community. And what I will say about the music stations is that a lot of the people that listen to the music stations, if they hear us, they will not leave. And that is the fear that the stations that play music have. Hence why they don't invite people like us on their stations, because they are in fear that they will lose that listenership. Because our people are waiting for the message. And so, a book from somebody who's as learned as you, you can't beat experience. You can't beat it. And you have that experience. And just like a listener did and sending a text, if you don't want to write the book, talk it so somebody else can write it. So that information can be there to awaken a person or persons in the future to continue the work. Because this liberation struggle is long. And we're not going to see the fruits of it in our lifetime. We're enjoying the fruits of the labors of those before, and our children will enjoy the fruits of the labors that we put in place now. And that's how it will go until the time when African people are redeemed and in their rightful position on planet Earth. You've been in tune to the Nubian Forum People's Talk Show, live here on Galaxy Afiwe.com. Inside with a great man, and him don't like it, but I'm going to say it anyway, Elder Minka Odofo, one of our principal strugglers in our story, and is right in our story right now. So on behalf of myself, Galaxy, the ancestors, the creating force of the universe, the omnipotent being that which is greater than ourselves, niches and orishas, may they watch over you, Elder. May they give you more years with us, and may you continue to inspire and Africate us. To all you listeners who was listening on the Facebook, who was sending the WhatsApps and the texts, and the few people them that call, I say Itepe, Ineke, Jea, Senebe. Divine peace, long life, stability and good health. Oneti Magba, Tonomafila, Olodumare, Jakimba.